Welcome back to a Syracuse University broadcast. It is my final day on the desk here. A little bittersweet, but I get to send it off with the one and only Gunjan. Gunjan, how are you, man?
I am glad to be back. It was a long spring break, it feels like. We've been back for a week, and I'm super excited to be here on your last cast, Ryan. We all appreciate how long you've been here, appreciate all the work you've done, and we're going to send it off with a banger in Valorant with Syracuse versus Minnesota.
Yeah, it's going to be a good match. I mean, just starting off last night, Syracuse had a really good night when it comes to the Overwatch team, right? A nice 3-0 victory over Minnesota, who is kind of right there in the middle, right? And then you have this team, this Minnesota team tonight, where Syracuse gets to continue their quite well season so far on this half of the season. Obviously, they had a little bit of a struggle at the start, but now they're really finding their way back into the swing of things.
Yeah, and we talked about it a little bit before on previous broadcasts where it's kind of a tale of two seasons. It felt like, especially in the fall, they kind of couldn't find their footing, kind of was lost a little bit. Players came back in after studying abroad, and it feels like the team's kind of been chugging along, had some good, the best way to say good losses, into now some good wins as they just kind of pile it on.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have some replays taking a look at how this team played these past couple weeks, specifically against Baylor. Syracuse had themselves a nice series, rather dominant in their favor, right? That first game going over to them really quickly. Second game, a little bit closer, right? Things heated up a little bit more, but still Syracuse managing to play really, really well. And as a whole, like you said, they've had some close losses. They've had some good losses in a sense, but now they've made some of those situations where it's been a little close, now very dominant wins for them in return.
And the big thing for them versus Baylor, Ryan, was the fact that they didn't have to win on bind. It was maps outside of bind where they were able to kind of just put it together overall. And, you know, the player that shied out has always been the captain, Pretz. He's just been so good for the team overall just being able to kind of hold the line and kind of just elevate the play of the entire team, because it feels like in every single round, in every single map, Pretz is always there, always showing up for the team, and it just kind of allows it so that we kind of have a consistency for the team, and then the other players are kind of able to show up in these kind of decisive moments.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was a big point to bring up as well, right? Is they've had such a good performance on Bind. It's become a map that has been, frankly, banned first for a lot of teams. That's going to be the opposite for tonight. Minnesota allowing that map to go through. So Bind will be map number 1 for this team. But Syracuse, they have a playbook like no other team in this conference right now on Bind. They are winning that map. They're playing very well on that map. Teams like Michigan State, Ohio State, Boise State, all of them struggling against Syracuse on that Bind map, and it shows how good this team is on that specific map. And you see them play up against Baylor. Baylor was like, we don't really want to deal with that. Not going to happen. And they still ended up pulling out the win for themselves, and that proves that this team is now starting to adapt into other maps, and they're not just sort of a one-trick pony or a one-map pony, and they're really finding their way back into it.
Yeah, and it's just all about that consistency, and when it comes to the overall play, and I'm just excited to see kind of how Syracuse goes on as we kind of, get ready for Vegas with the Power Esports Conference. It feels like right now Syracuse is in that dark horse spot where they're not in the top 3, so it's still like, okay, we're not sure exactly where Syracuse is in terms of power level, but they've been stacking up some good wins. They beat Kansas last week as well, had a 2-0 performance there, and so now they're sitting in that 6th seed, contending for that 5th seed, and they're kind of warming up at the perfect time. You don't want to warm up way too early because you can kind of run out of steam, and now as they're kind of stacking up these wins, they're looking to Vegas with kind of a good shot of doing some damage.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Syracuse won't be able to go a nice 0.5 going into Vegas, unfortunately, but they can get themselves one game closer to it, and that's kind of what you're looking for at this point in time, is you're sort of looking for a miracle to just continue yourselves forward and continue to put yourself in a good spot moving forward into Vegas. But I want to take a quick second. It's a completely off topic, but we've mentioned a couple animals, and I've been thinking, obviously since it is my last broadcast here, I'm going to be moving away. I'm not going to be in Syracuse any longer, and so I'm going to have an apartment. I'm thinking, do you have a dog, Dungeon?
I don't have a dog. I have a cat.
Okay. Well, I'm thinking I'm going to get a dog.
Okay.
Right. What's your name on the name Smokey?
What type of dog, though? That's kind of the big thing here, Ryan.
I'm thinking like a beagle. I'm thinking a beagle named Smokey. I mean, I think it just hits different,
I'm not sure about that. Honestly, it's going to kind of depend on the kind of. So I have a cat.
Okay.
I have a cat with my girlfriend. We call her Luna because she's just a black cat.
Oh, that's
so
sweet.
we love her.
There you go.
I feel like name associations in terms of color really matters. It kind of depends on kind of what type of beagle, what the look is.
What if it's like a white brown black type of beagle where
I can see that.
Yeah, right. So then it sort of hits that smoky type of vibe.
Kind of a brimstone smoky kind of vibe,
like a smoky orange type of feel. Yeah, that's sort of what I was feeling, but. Sorry, that was totally off topic, but I got to be thinking ahead about some of these things now. So I'm gonna get a dog named Smokey. Some way or another, a dog named Smokey will end up in my life. I promise you.
Perfect.
And we have gophers tonight, by the way. I just want to keep that in mind. We've been on the subject of animals. The Minnesota are the golden gophers. So actually, back on color relations, golden and gopher. How do you feel about that one?
I like the alliteration. I think there needs to be a final thing though, like golden gophers go.
Garrett.
Oh,
I'm trying to think. I'm sure
golden
Minnesota's...
gophers Gunjan.
Oh. Hey.
3 Gs.
Are you leaving Syracuse?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I was just making sure. You're taking my spot when I leave. We can't. Carson might have a problem if you were to leave to go to Minnesota. But we'll have to. I'm gonna have to do some research and see if the Minnesota Golden Gopher has an actual name. Because I'm a little curious about that.
It has to be a G name. I feel like if it's not a G name, if it's just like Golden Gophers Gary. That could be a good one. I like the alliteration. I just feel like it would be weird if it was like Golden Gophers Carl. Like that doesn't work, Like it has to be a little bit kind of going with that alliteration. I feel like it has to stick with it.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I mean, you can't, and it can't be something random. I agree. It's like it's got to like fit the flow. It can't be like Neiman or something like that. It's got to be like Golden Gopher. Go team. I don't know. I got nothing. But no, I agree. But now veering back onto the path of what the broadcast actually is about, back into Overwatch. Okay. Valorant. It's gonna be a great broadcast, y'all.
Yep.
right, when it comes to these two teams, both of them have had obviously their struggles, but they've also had their successes, right? And both these teams have really been trying to prove themselves accordingly. Minnesota obviously a little bit lower in terms of rankings and in terms of their win-to-loss ratio, but it's not without saying they've had some good wins and they've had some good ability to bring themselves back. And I think the match today is really going to determine probably some long-term seeding for Vegas.
No, 100%, especially for Syracuse. Right now, they're sitting at 8-9. Right above them is Kansas, who's sitting at 8-8. They haven't played their games as well, so it's going to be kind of figuring out where the standings end up shaking out. There's a chance for Syracuse to get to that 5th spot, but it's going to kind of depend on tiebreakers. So we're not going to get into the technicals, we're not going to get into the math of it, but it can determine standings. Overall, for Minnesota and for both of these teams, it's just kind of about getting together some good wins. Getting together some momentum, kind of, we talk about it. It's a long season. You know, PEC lasts for 18 weeks, so it's 18 games, 18 sets that these teams have played, and it's just all about peaking at the right moments. It feels like Syracuse is peaking. Minnesota had a tough loss last week where they went 0-2, and so it's kind of about just kind of figuring out what can we do as a team, what can we do as the meta is adjusting as well. You know, so one of the things we want to talk about, Ryan, is that patch 25 or 12.05 has hit, and now we have Lotus and Fracture is in, Abyss and Corrode is out. We also have nerfs to agents such as Clove and Yoryu, which have affected their win rates as well as their play rates. So just kind of figuring out, as the meta is adjusting, what can we do? And I'm not sure, is Mix going to be in play for Vegas? Okay, gotcha.
For Vegas, yes. For Vegas, yes,
gotcha.
It will be in play. I mean, I was talking with Pretz a little bit beforehand. He doesn't feel great about the character. It kind of feels a little worrisome about them, so I don't know if we'll see at least Syracuse play the new character, but obviously we'll worry about that when we get there. But tonight, there's no difference in terms of characters outside the fact that, like you said, Yoru and Clove got some pretty big buffs. Clove, Syracuse doesn't...
Big nerfs.
Yes, nerf is the word, not buff. Clove specifically, Syracuse doesn't really play Clove, so it wasn't a big concern with their nerfs. Yoru, on the other hand, was definitely a character that a lot of these players were very comfortable on. Drago specifically tends to play that Yoru, so instead we're going to see them playing a little bit more Waylay tonight, because Yoru, frankly, got butchered instead of the normal playstyle that Yoru has been in. I mean, it's funny. I mean, you think about how good Yoru has been in terms of the meta for a long time, and now it's kind of like, no, just no, they're gone. And so, we're going to see some changes there.
The big thing, Ryan, just kind of talking about those Yoru nerfs. So Gate Crash, the jump kind of activation time reduced from 30 to 15 seconds. So a lot of times we would see Yoru kind of push onto a site, look for any sort of information. If he wasn't able to get anything done, kind of teleport back to his beacon, as well as the blind charges going from 2 to 1, which made it so that, you know, he's not going to be able to be as aggressive as he wanted to be. You know, having those double flashes made it so that he was kind of able to take, especially in a lot of teams that like to run double duelist, he was able to take a little bit of that kind of sentinel / initiator role. So now that he doesn't have those charges, his play rate has kind of dropped off a little bit of a cliff. You know, pro meta is going to be adjusting, because as much as we talk about kind of what these buffs and nerfs are, there are players that are just kind of familiar with these agents, so the agent will stay around for a little bit, but in terms of just his overall effectiveness, he's completely gone down. And again, we talked about it with Syracuse. When we do run double duelist, or if we're running Yoryu, we're most likely going to switch over to that Waylay.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, you mentioned sort of falling off the cliff there. Speaking of, Abyss is no longer in the map pool, like you mentioned, right? So Syracuse typically had that in that map 3 spot. It's been, you know, both teams are like, ban, and I guess we're going to go with this. So Abyss is no longer in the map pool, right? Like you mentioned. However, Lotus and Pearl have, or not Lotus and Pearl, excuse me, Lotus and Fracture have made their way back into the map pool. Pearl we haven't seen in a while, but the reason I said it is because it's our map number 3 for tonight if we end up getting there. So Pearl finding their way back into the map rotation, and Lotus as well. Lotus will be our map number 2. So one way or another, we will see Lotus, sort of a different version of that triple site like Haven. This one a lot more secluded, a lot more isolated in terms of those fights, and a lot more chaotic at certain times as well. So Lotus will be played. I'm curious to see what's going to end up happening. We'll probably see the Astra come back out again, because Astra is just absolutely disgusting on that map. So I'm curious to see, especially with that, right? We talked about how much Syracuse has really been good on Bind, but they've sort of been adapting to those other maps. Curious to see how you have a map like Lotus and Pearl, which we haven't seen at all in the entire season, what those are going to look like now that you basically have to play them.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see kind of what we end up doing on Pearl. You said map number 2.
3.
Or
Lotus is 2.
Lotus 2,
Yeah.
yep. So I'm excited to see, especially on Lotus, because you mentioned a site like or a map like Haven, which Syracuse has struggled on before. We did win 2 weeks ago on Haven, but it has been a map that we have struggled on, especially that triple site. Mainly because Syracuse, in terms of struggling with mid coverage, has kind of been the big thing in a lot of these maps. And obviously, these triple sites maps, mid coverage is so important in terms of kind of that flexibility. Overall, I'm excited to see, because you did mention the Astra pick. Pretz was amazing on Astra. He was absolutely dominant on that pick, and kind of talking about him being able to be consistent as an overall gunplay, as well as have all of that utility that Astra provides to the team. It's going to be interesting to see kind of how we end up kind of bringing that out, because it feels like for Syracuse, the change has been when Pretz has been able to be flexible in terms of where his role is. Initially was playing a little bit more of the DPS, has kind of switched over to initiators, sentinels, controllers, kind of just whatever Syracuse needs for that team comp to be viable.
Yeah, and another thing to consider is, last time Syracuse played Minnesota, Pretz dropped 30 kills in each map. They ended up winning, and I believe the numbers were Pretz went 32 kills in map 1, 34 in map 2, and just plays more to that point, right? More to that point of sort of that seniority on the roster, that sort of veteran status, that comfortability on all roles. Like I said, through my tenure here as a caster, I've seen Pretz play every single role that Valorant has to offer, and I'm going to be seeing him finish it up tonight on Duelist again. But if he does flex over to that controller, that's something to really be considering, is he has that capability to flex, whether it be Astra as a controller, whether it be Sova on the initiator, will it be a Duelist on Waylay or on Jet. He has that flexibility to do anything the team requires of him.
Yeah, for sure. And it just kind of gives the flexibility to the team as well, just kind of understanding, regardless of what I want to play in this situation, Pretz has me. Whatever the team kind of, especially with the freshmen coming in, kind of figuring out, okay, now, maybe my agent priority has changed. Maybe I'm getting a little bit more comfortable with this agent. I want to play a little bit more of the Duelist role. Pretz is going to say, okay, whatever you need, I got you for the team. That's why, again, we talked about dropping 30 PGA. Pretz, Gilgis, Alexander right there, dropping the 30, and we'll see if he drops 30 again, because I'm excited to see it. For your last cast out here, he has to drop it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm expecting 30s. I'm expecting aces. I'm expecting a 2-0. I mean, that's not biased at all. But, I mean, Syracuse feels comfortable going into this. I mean, as you've watched them throughout this season, you look at them last semester, don't. You look at them this semester, do. Right? And I mean, I say that with love. Last semester, they struggled. They went 0-4, and then they went 4-4. Very, very good way to end their season. And then they came in this semester, and they fought the hardest teams known to man. Ohio State, Boise State, and Michigan State, basically back to back to back. Not the best place you want to be in. But Syracuse found their way, and now they're bringing themselves into this situation of finding these victories and finding this value long term. And Syracuse has done nothing but improve in an exponential level throughout this year. It's what you want to see from a newer roster, right? You have players like Drago and Pretz who are old, and, well, not old, but they are older to the roster. They're more used to it. And then you have the newer players like Monster and Mabugi who are fresh to this team and are still finding their way into the roster, and they have.
Yeah, and that's kind of the hallmark of a healthy program for players like Monster and Mabugi. Growth. That's the biggest thing about a program like this. It's about making sure that as the guard changes, the new players see what it takes to get better. And as they get better and new players come in, they can help them improve, and the program is healthy and viable for years to come after Pretz leaves.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have players like Stomp who come in, right? And it's sort of like, hey, I wasn't here last semester, now I am. And, it brings that comfortability back. And so this Syracuse roster has a lot moving forward, and also it has a level of, right, you're going to have players graduating soon. You're going to have players who are going to be moving on to the next portion of their lives, and you need to have these new players ready to take on that mantle, right? Mabugi has been doing a lot of IGLing for this team, and came on originally, was a sub, and has now moved to starting on the roster, and is now an IGL on the starting roster. And that's what you want to see, right? You want to see these players who are young, who are new, literally go from here and get to here and be ready for whatever it is to come in the following semesters. This Syracuse Valorant squad has really shown improvement. I mean, you look at all the teams here at Syracuse, a rock Rocket League team has been just good in general, end of discussion. They've been a very, very good team consistently, and they're still competing in CRL, so best of luck to them. Our Overwatch team, they've obviously had some struggles in terms of those top ranks, but they are solidifying themselves as definitely a top 4 team in this conference really consistently. Our Smash team, same deal. You have players like Syrup who are just absolute dominators when it comes to that team. And then there's this Valorant team where last semester you're like, oh, you know, Smash, Overwatch, Rocket League, they're all really, really good. Val. Come on, guys. It sort of felt a little participation awardy, and it was because of how new they were, right? And as they've taken that time, now it's not a matter of, oh, you know, our Valorant team, they may or may not win tonight. It's now our Valorant team is getting up there. They're proving that they're going to be right there in that top 4, top 5 seed in this conference, and it's taken some time, but it shows that sort of immaturity moving to maturity as a roster and where they can be and where that future of this Valorant squad can end up going.
Yeah, and you talk about the volatility, especially when you start off slow. There's kind of one of those points, especially where it kind of splits, you know, like you kind of get to the road and the road splits, because once you start off slow, victory is what kind of keeps teams together. And when you're losing, it is really hard to be like, guys, we need to improve, guys, we need to work on this, because you're just down on yourself. You're like, we can't put things together, we can't win. And the fact that Pretz is able to come in, the fact that players are kind of able to come together and just improve means that we took the right fork on the road. Right? We started improving, we started showing growth, and as the program goes on into next semester and the semester after that, these players will grow because they understand we came from losses, we came from defeat, and we can build on that regardless to be a powerful team in this conference. Yeah,
and speaking of powerful teams, Syracuse starting off on Bind once more, right? Pret's going to be on that Viper, Mabugi on the Neon, Stomp coming in on the Waylay, Monster hovering over the Fade, and Owen on the Brimstone, looking like a mirror coming out from the side of Minnesota. Only difference will be the Sky instead, and it will be a little different, right? You have Syracuse on this double duelist with that Neon compared to the single duelist of Minnesota having the double initiator instead.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Minnesota does end up doing. One of the other nerfs that did also come out during this patch was that Sky also got a nerf to her guiding light, which is her flash. It has now an internal 60-second cooldown, so it has made it so that you have to be a little bit more wary when you do use that ability. Obviously, the Waylay picks and the hover from the side of Minnesota as well. Again, this character, this duelist has kind of jumped up now that the Yoru priority has gone down, so I'm excited to see. But again, Syracuse is such a good team when it comes to Bind. It is a map that Syracuse has beat the top teams in this conference on, so I'm excited to see what Syracuse can do. And for Minnesota, this is one of those things where while Syracuse is not a top 3 team, if you can take or be competitive with Syracuse on Bind, that shows a lot. That shows that you can compete, and that shows that you have that kind of willingness to fight, especially on a map that Syracuse has been absolutely dominant and kind of demolished any other team.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And, you know, when you're a team like Minnesota and you're like, fine, and we'll take the fight on to Bind with Syracuse, it shows a little bit of confidence, right? You obviously have something that you're prepared to do on this map, and it is a little different, right? Syracuse coming out no different on their composition. Obviously, so that Yoru, you see the Waylay, but the Waylay is not too uncommon on Bind in general. And then you take a look at Minnesota, where they're like, we're going to play it a little bit differently. We're going to have the Sky come in instead, and that is definitely a difference comparing to what you normally see from some of these teams, and you see the confidence from this Minnesota squad immediately starting out saying, we will take the fight on Bind.
Yeah, 100%. And I will say, if you are going to face Syracuse on Bind, you do not want to face them stock. You don't want to face them with a mirror matchup, because when it comes to execution on this map, they are the best in the conference right now. So it's one of those situations where you do have to mix it up. I like the Sky pickup, even though the character has been nerfed just a little bit. It's just about kind of establishing what this team can do and kind of a strategy to compete against Syracuse on the map they've just been absolutely flawless on.
Absolutely, and round number 1 going to start this matchup here, and Syracuse not going to do anything too crazy. Stomp finds the first one onto Sum on that Brimstone. It's going to be a great way for Syracuse to continue forward on their Bind dominance here. Loses a little bit of HP, but going to keep themselves alive for a little bit longer. One of those staple Viper walls there that you either have that 1 through B on the teleporter, or right here on A side. It gives the attacking side a little bit more ability to keep themselves clear while walking on through, so I'm not too surprised. Mabuki playing it safe, backs themselves up into the Viper wall, going to stay alive for a little bit more. Stomp finds one onto Henry. Stomp in return, traded out by Sammy. Going to be coming through the side, hits the reload. Zephyr finds Mabuki, but Pretz, Owen, and Pretz for the final 3 find the kills. Round number 1 for Syracuse.
Really clean round overall from Syracuse. Again, in terms of just execution, they just won their gunfights. Good initial pick as well, and just SU starts off strong on Bind once again. Again, Stomp got the initial kill onto Sum, and it just felt like there just wasn't enough manpower overall for the Gophers. Again, good overall attempt, but this should be round number 1 to SU, and now an advantageous round number 2 for SU as well.
Yeah, and I do want to mention something really quickly. So their team manager, Anna, has a Riot keycap from when she had a little visit there, and she's making a challenge for their team. I was asked to give a recommendation. I said the top fragger for the matches tonight. I don't know if that's going to be what they do, but something to keep in mind is that may potentially be it. The Mobucky comes out, finds one on the Zephyr, taken down by Shambo, but that's what you want to see if you're a Syracuse fan. Mobucky's always fun to see. Stomp finds one with the outlier onto Sum. That spike now out of commission for the side of Minnesota. They walk forward. It's going to be Henry taken down to the shoulder. Stomp finds it. It's just one member alive for the side of Minnesota. Syracuse feeling nice and confident. They're going to be sitting in lamps here. Pretz ready to go. There goes the fade with the ability comes in. Viper Spit, or not Viper Spit, excuse me. Viper's Molly goes in. Stomp finds a kill. 2-0 Syracuse.
Shambo was stuck in those hallways, and it felt like every single one of the Syracuse Orange descended, take him out right there. 2-0 for the side of the Orange, and overall, again, good round, gun advantage, of course. And it just felt like they had a response from Mobucky as they caught him out 3v1, but it just wasn't enough. Everyone else on SU's playing really strong as this map has just started. 2-0 advantage for the Orange, and right now, Syracuse is rolling on Bind, which is, I feel like I'm a broken record when it comes to saying that.
Gotta love the Mobucky, though. I mean, it's always some of the most fun things you see here from the Syracuse squad. It's one of those elements where it's like, oh, you know, it's a little mean, but it's really not. I mean, it works well, and it sounds well. It rolls off the tongue pretty easily. Pretz, however, taken down by Henry. Stomp relocates themselves back over to A-side after scouting a little bit through that main choke, and it's going to be Syracuse down one of their main controllers. That Viper down is going to be a lot of control, a lot of map control gone from this team, and immediately you see a different play style from Syracuse, a little bit more passive. They know they're down one member, they know they're on the defensive side, and they know Minnesota has to be more aggressive here, and they're playing rather safe. They don't want to get too antsy, and I like it from them. Stomp, not going to be able to find a shot. Henry finds another one. Mobucky comes in, looks for something, able to find one. There goes Sum, looks for another. Comes around the corner, not going to be able to find him. Shambo finds it at 2-on-4. Syracuse, not in a great spot here as the guns are even on the other side. It's Syracuse's bonus round for them here, so they didn't have to buy. Owen spots Sammy, but they're going to rotate out. Monster in heaven up here on the Guardian finds Sammy on that rotate. Good pick out for Syracuse. That spike is down, though. They've only got about 20-odd seconds to get that from going off. Owen taking the shot to the shoulder, goes down. Zephyr finds the other one, and Syracuse loses that round.
Really good round for the Gophers right there. Henry on that waylay made so much space, taking out Pretz as well as taking out Monster. Just overall, really good round as well from the waylay, kind of creating space. And again, Syracuse had a good attempt at a post-plant situation, got the initial pick on the Sammy, but it just wasn't enough in a 2v3 situation. Didn't have enough utility left. And again, you talked about it, Ryan. Free round overall for the side of the Orange, so not too big of a loss. This round is going to be really important as well because Syracuse is right now stuck on some regen shields, not the most amount of utility, so it's going to be interesting to see if they can kind of mount a defense as Minnesota is rolling.
Yeah, you see that bird go in for the flash, but Syracuse has a good wall to save themselves, and that's that other wall I was talking about, right? From that B site through the teleporter all the way around. It's really good for that control, and it prevents a lot of early push from the attacking side. Syracuse doesn't lose anyone. They do notice someone there. There goes the dog from the sky. Not going to find anyone, though. As now they're going to sit here in showers for just a little bit longer here in Syracuse. They started aggressive, but once more, this is what Syracuse has really been working on this in general, not just on this map, is finding that difference from playing really aggressive, playing a little bit more passive, and finding that nice happy medium between the two. So I like this from Syracuse. It's very well thought out from them. They know how they want to play it. They're trusting one another as well, and they're playing a little bit better for the trades as well. Pretz on a long rotate, spots one, takes him down. A nice flick will take out Sammy. Henry, however, finds the trade. It's a 4-on-4. Viper and Sky down respectively for these two squads. 30 seconds left. Minnesota needs to go for a little bit of a fast push here. Remember, they need 4 seconds to get this spike down. You see immediately that Waylay is going to go into Lamps, but they're not going to find anyone. They do have the ability to get out alive if they choose to use it. Here comes a potential ultimate convergence pass ready to be used, but Stomp taken down before they can use it. Some gets the plant down. No one's going to stop them, and it's going to be Mabuki jumps in, finds him. Owen, however, taken down by Shambo. It's a 2-on-3. Correction, 1-on-3 as Mabuki goes down. Henry, only one there taking those kills. A nice trade from the top down. Some takes out Monster. It's 2-2.
Ryan, you were mentioning it. It was a good attempt overall from the side of the Waylay right there to try to kind of hold, but he did end up going down before the convergence path did go down. It was one of those situations where it's just kind of Valorant timing. He had turned around, setting up the convergence path. The Viper runs through Vath, and she just takes him out. It made it so that SU wasn't able to play that initial plant situation from the side of the Gophers. Good overall round just from Minnesota, just be able to kind of get everything done. Again, we are going to go to a little bit of a pause, it looks like. Actually, no, we're just going to be...
Yep, a little bit of a pause right now. A little bit of pause for a second. But, I mean, this is one of those things that Syracuse has really been not really struggling with, but it definitely has been something to worry about, per se, is how they make these changes accordingly when they go from more of a fast play to a slower pace of play. And the concern is what happens when neither are really working, right? And how do you change that accordingly? Obviously, we say when you win round 1, you'll likely win round 2, but then the guns get even, and what do you do?
Yeah, it felt like right now for Syracuse, they've been... Like, the first round was really good because they just won that initial pick, and it felt like when they had the numbers advantage, SU is really dominant on Bind. In that round number 4 where they did lose with kind of a even gun standpoint, it just felt like Pretz was going for that kind of big reverse flank from B-side all the way into A main. Just wasn't able to get it. Kind of one of those situations where he got the initial pick, just wasn't able to beat Henry on the Waylay. And that's one of those situations where it feels like right now SU could play just a little bit more controlled. And again, Minnesota is taking a really long time to get on these sites. It's not like they're kind of peeking these angles aggressively. So it feels like Syracuse can just be a little bit more patient because they have the utilities, they have the gun as well. So it's one of those situations where let them make that aggressive move because it feels like they're doing it so late in the clock that if that initial aggression doesn't work out, they're not going to have any time to plan at all. So you have enough utility where once they go for that initial plant, you can maybe just kind of shoot them off of it. At that point, Minnesota is kind of in a do-or-die situation, and you may not even have to be able to win the gunfight to actually get the round win.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you mentioned the controllers a little bit, and I do want to mention, right, you take a look at, there's a lot of Viper util on that A site, but we've seen a couple times over that B site, not too many scuffles over there, but the ones that are happening, it's very smoky, right? And there's a lot of Brim, there's a lot of Viper, and yes, I did just hint the smoky again because I really like the name, but it's a lot of things happening over there, and there's a reason why that B site isn't really being pushed because there's so much going on, right? You have up to 6 Brimstone smokes to be thrown in there. You have 2 Viper smokes that can be thrown in there on top of the Viper walls. If you add that all together, that's 10 total smokes that can be thrown into one site. That's a lot of things. That's a lot of, especially on B site where it really is just 2 choke points for you to walk into, and if you smoke them all off, you smoke the site off, you get a little lost. So it's not too surprising, but it is something that I'm curious, right, if Minnesota takes that curve and they go on to that B site, if that's going to make Syracuse's life a little bit easier, or if that's going to force them to back up like it has on the A site.
I think, honestly, it's going to make it probably just a little bit easier. It's one of those situations where right now I'm interested to see kind of where they end up playing Pretz, because it feels like Pretz hasn't been a part of the action. Whenever he is part of the action, it's kind of on these flank angles, which are just a lot more of those do or die situations where are you going to catch someone out looking into a insignificant corner and you get the pick or not? And so it's one of those situations where I want to see how Minnesota reacts when they're playing Pretz straight up, because in terms of gunplay, he's looking good. It's just one of those situations where he's just kind of not a part of the action. So it's going to be interesting to see as we get back into the map. Round number 5 starting between University of Minnesota versus the Syracuse Orange. Excited to see how this turns out.
Yeah, absolutely. Syracuse on a thrifty bye is going to be a little interesting to see, but Syracuse had a good thrifty round in the past. Monster takes out Shambo. I got to find the statistics there. Mabugi finds themselves down, but Owen finds the trade. It's going to be Henry who finds Owen. It's a 3-on-3. Gun advantage going towards, Minnesota, but Syracuse, a very good job. Like I said, I'm going to have to find the exact statistics there, but Syracuse on these thrifty rounds is wildly successful. They know how to play it. They have very good gun skill. We've talked about that's sort of one of the biggest strengths of Syracuse is in terms of gunplay, they are a very, very strong team. It's been coming down to sort of that team play a lot of times, and that's what they've been improving upon throughout this year. And now they have not only the gunplay, but also the team play. Pretz on the flank. Not going to be able to find the shot, exposes themselves. They have 21 HP. They can't really go for and engage onto it in return. They need to back up just a little bit. Convergence pass online if Syracuse chooses to use it here. Monster rotates themselves back over onto this A site. Sammy going to look for the plant.
He fakes it, but doesn't go for it completely, Ryan. It looks like they're going to transition over onto this B site, and they might have caught SU out, but Monster, let's see if he can get something done.
Yeah, almost finds them, but Stomp on the flank finds one onto Zephyr. Goes in for the stun. The shot goes in, but Henry finds him with the Vandal. The gun difference there, taking the victory. Sky goes in for the heal, keeping their team alive for just a little bit longer. That regrowth taking full HP. Convergence pass now available for the side of Minnesota. Monster. 2 bullets to their name. They go for the reload. The wall is up from Pretz. Monster fakes the defusal, looks around the right side. Convergence pass goes in, doesn't find a connection though. Pretz through the smoke, through the wall, taken down by Sammy. Monster finds one, 5 HP, looks for the other, can't quite find it.
Couldn't get it done, Ryan, but again, it was a thrifty round. Again, one of those situations where they lost the round, but overall won the war because they got so many weapons off from the side of the University of Minnesota. Again, they are going to be able to buy, so it will be a full buy on full buy situation. But the economy for the side of the Gophers has been just a little bit ruined, and overall, really good round from the side of the Orange to just kind of get stuff done. And you know, starting off with Monster just taking out Shambo immediately, but this post-plant situation was just so difficult because of the Viper wall right here, just not having enough HP to win the fight against Sammy.
Yeah, that's the thing right now. Minnesota 3 unanswered rounds. Syracuse needs to find their way back into this series here as it's starting to snowball into Minnesota's favor. It's going to be a really big swing round for Syracuse as well as for Minnesota. This is really the round that is going to take the next 2 or 3, to be honest with you. Mabugi spots one, a little bit of damage goes in on the shoulder, but not going to find a kill. Zephyr comes out alive. Pretz going to throw up that wall, but there goes the Sky. Seeker is out alive for the game. Stun goes in. Some find Stomp and Monster. Monster finds Henry before being taken down. Owen on to Zephyr, 3-on-3. Seeker is still out. Haven't quite found anyone. Owen's going to be spotted by it. Lives through, finds the reload, the Valorant timing, peeks the corner, Shambo finds a Mabugi, spots a Molly, takes a little bit of fire damage to that. It's now a 2-on-3. Minnesota has the advantage here. Mabugi, Finger of Death comes on out as they're going to look for something here through this smoke. Not going to find anything though. There you go, in return, going to have the smoke coming in from the Brimstone here. There's the Nightfall coming out from the Fade. Sammy finds Mabugi on the reload. It's just going to be Pretz alive, taken down. And 3 members live for Minnesota, and 4 rounds in a row for him as well.
Really good round from the side of the Gophers right there. Again, one of those situations where they did lose the initial pick, but overall, the Gophers have been rotating onto sites really well. It's one of those situations, Ryan, where I do think that it is surprising because they do push onto these sites really late, but they are very aggressive and very decisive when they do push onto these sites. They did end up using the Neon ult on the side of Mabugi. Do you want to workshop, Ryan? What do you think about Laser Pointer for Neon ulti? I think that's a good nickname overall for that ulti.
I mean, you know, Riot calls it Overdrive, but I mean, I don't mind Laser Pointer. Laser Pointer's not bad. If they add a cat to the game, I think we'll start having. Do you think we can get the Prowlers to start following the laser? I think that'd be a little interesting. You have cat, so maybe that would be the case.
Yes.
spots one out. Won't be able to find the kill, though. Speaking of the Prowler, comes on out, but won't find the connection. A lot of bullets fired, though. Waylay, Stomp. Going to recall themselves back over on this A site. There's the dog from the sky. Not going to find a connection, though, with that stun. Syracuse, Minnesota, both of them have ultimates to spare and to use. Syracuse needs to look for something to open up their game once more. Like I said, this was a really big swing round for both those teams on that past round, but Syracuse, unfortunately, the swing not in their favor. They're on a sort of a half-buy situation here. The Sheriff for Maboogie, the Judge for Stomp there, tries to find that ultimate orb, but won't be able to do it. Maboogie forced out now. Stomp has the Bucky. Maboogie does not have the Bucky. But, you know, sometimes it happens. You have a player so good with the Bucky, you got to train the rest of them how to use the Bucky. Maboogie, however, not the Mobucky.
30 seconds left.
Gonna play safe. A lot of util comes out. There's the eye. There's a lot of smokes as well. Owen lives just a little bit longer there as there's a little bit of damage goes in. Stomp goes down. Owen finds one. Sammy and some find Maboogie, and Owen in return 2 on 4. Minnesota advantage here. Monster sitting out in lamps here. 14 seconds. Some goes for the plant. Pretz from behind has the Sheriff. Looks for something as they peek around this corner. Through showers. Finds one. Can't find the kill. Sammy finds a monster. Playing nice and safe in these lamps. Not going to be able to find something, though. It's a 4-on-1. Spike is down. Nightfall's available as well as 2 Prowlers if he chooses to use it, but Some is ready for the peak, and that's 5 rounds in a row for Minnesota.
Minnesota is rolling right now, and again, the thing that I mentioned, Ryan, the fact that they do go onto these sites late does not matter. When they execute their on-site kind of overall coverage so cleanly, it feels like right now Minnesota is rolling. The Gophers just kind of have the utility. They spread it out really well, and they're super decisive. They don't wait. They don't kind of split up their resources. The second someone says go, the second the IGL on the Gophers says go, every single person is going in, and that was one of those rounds where obviously Syracuse did not have weapons. They couldn't really put up too much of a fight, but in terms of execution, I think the Gophers are really strong right now as we get 7 rounds into this map.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing an incredibly good job, and they've been using their util rather sparingly, and that's one thing that I really want to point out is how Syracuse has been using their utility, their cooldowns. It's very much calculated, and then you take a look at Minnesota, which is also calculated, but it's rather aggressive, right? When they want to use their util, it is all at once, right? So when I say it sparingly, I don't mean it from a perspective of they're using one every now and then. I mean, they're not using anything until they're ready to engage, and it makes for a very fast push, and I mean, take a look at Overwatch, it's dive, right? You just have to sustain that first engage, and then you're fine. Syracuse, they're not able to full kite, though, and they're not able to full back up, which means they're not living that dive.
It makes it really risky, though, Ryan. That's one of those situations where this kind of style, especially on Valorant, especially on how late they are pushing, when it works, it looks really good, and that's why the Minnesota has been kind of able to roll to these 5 rounds in a row. But if they do end up falling behind, or if the initial push isn't able to kind of get them onto site cleanly, they do fall behind because the time advantage is so favored for the side of Syracuse. I need to see how they respond, but right now it feels like they're kind of not able to figure out when Minnesota is going to go in. But again, 5 rounds in a row, Minnesota has pushed A, so maybe one of those situations where they just try to stack or do something to kind of disrupt this 5-man ball comp that Minnesota and the Gophers are running.
The Golden Gophers, Goldie is their mascot. We were asking that question earlier, and now you have your answer. I mean, I don't know. I think you can make it a little bit something different, but Goldie, it is a G, so there you go. Gungeon, it's still a G, but I think it could still be something cooler. I think Golden Gopher Gungeon would be really sick. I'm expecting that to be your next IGN, by the way, or maybe your next Twitter handle. Stop! Sitting here in the lamps, there goes the concussion, but Sammy spots him. It's a good trade. Maboogie's turn with the concuss, finds one stuck in the brimstone. Owen finds the rest of that kill. A great one for Syracuse after that timeout to sort of reset and have a plan of attack. Waylay comes in. Pretz, calm under the pressure, finds the kill. Molly goes out, but Some finds the kill. 3-on-2, Syracuse advantage.
Really good overall from Syracuse. Again, that initial puck wasn't a dive from the side of the Golden Gophers. Good kill from Monster right there. Takes out Some. 3-on-1 situation. And again, the Fade running onto A side, but Syracuse does smell this out. We will see if the Fade can get some sort of plant in, but this should just be a round win for the side of the Orange. Shambo trying to plant, trying to fake something. Takes out Maboogie immediately. 2-on-1 situation. The Fade is planting. Can Monster get around? 2-on-1 situation, but again, Monster takes out Shambo. This should be the defuse for the side of the Brimstone, and SU finally put up a round on the board. 3-5 advantage for the Golden Gophers, but good fight by the side of Syracuse Orange to stop that 5-round win streak.
Not too shabby to see there for Syracuse as they bring themselves back in after that after that halftime. Or not halftime, not overtime, timeout. There we go. The time comes before the rest of it. Father time. Syracuse, a very good round for them. However, is now they have some guns to work with, they have some utility to work with, they have some ultimates to work with, and they have a little bit more to play with.
And the thing to point out, Ryan, was that it felt like the Golden Gophers kind of went away from their playstyle that had been winning them all those rounds. You talked about it. They all decisively, as a ball, just kind of get onto site. They use all of their utility to kind of make sure that SU isn't able to respond. And in that situation, Mabugi was able to pick up two. They were able to pick up 2 members in Bath. And once the ball kind of got destroyed, they just didn't have enough utility all push on site. Good round from the side of the SU Orange to kind of break up that 5-man death ball that the Golden Gophers were running for 5 rounds in a row.
Yeah, we got the Mobuki returning here. Still one of my favorite guns in the game with that Falcon. Gets blinded out by a different bird, and Henry finds a kill. Stomp finds a trade onto Zephyr there. There goes the Hellfire coming out from the Brimstone. Looking for something. Owen backs up. Sight is clear. There goes the Molly. Stomp playing safe, and Lamps finds Sammy on the rotate. Looks for another one, but Sum finds him out before they can find a shot onto the head. 58 seconds. Sum goes for the plant here. It's a 3-on-3. Nightfall comes out from Monster. And they're able to find one. Prowler as well. Some gets spotted out. Gonna be Monster looking for something. There goes the Molly. Shambo finds Monster. Looks for the corner. Henry finds Pretz. Shambo finds Owen. And a very well executed round for Minnesota.
Ryan, the death ball has reformed. The Transformers are there again. It feels like the Common Riders have formed back into there again. Mabugi gets caught out, flashed, instantly dies to Henry right there, and just felt like they got into sight so quickly. Stomp took out Sammy, but just wasn't enough. 2 members there contesting. And the person I really want to point out, the person that, we've kind of been seeing round after round after round is Henry on this waylay. It feels like he's really clean in terms of these duels, and his positioning in that post-plant situation where he doesn't get caught out by the Nightfall doesn't show at all as well. And so the second he spotted, he kind of popped out. It made it so that everyone, when SU was kind of surprised at where his location was, able to pick up the round for the Golden Gophers and a 6-3 advantage for the side of Minnesota.
Yeah, Seekers come back out as well. And I do just want to say a quick thing for everyone watching. We are aware there's a little bit of a jitter to the screen. It will be fixed after this game, so don't worry there. But a little bit of server things going on right now, as it always does with esports, but that's okay. Some goes down, or Some finds Monster. Pretz finds Sammy. Mabugi and Pretz, however, traded out. That Viper's Pit coming out from Syracuse. A good play, but Minnesota just ran through it. They did not care. And now Syracuse at a disadvantage here. Remember, 6 rounds is what you look to have moving into the half. Every round after is going to be a round advantage after that halftime. Syracuse trying to make this one even. Minnesota looking very, very strong on a map that Syracuse is normally very, very good at. And Syracuse has been playing this rather well, but Minnesota, it's like they just have a playbook that they know what they want to do, and it shows why they had that confidence to even cue this into Syracuse in the first place here. That spike is down, and Syracuse, they're just going to look to save out their guns here, save out their economy for just a little bit longer. They know they're running low on the money, and they don't want to give any more extra money, any more extra kills, any more extra value to that side of Minnesota. Stomp going to be taken out by that bomb by that spike, excuse me, as they teleport through, and it's going to be a round win for Minnesota once more.
Yeah, Minnesota picks up round number 7 for their side, and again, it feels like when they are combined together, the final robot reference, Ryan, Voltron. All 5 pieces of the Minnesota Gophers kind of combine into one massive death robot, and they run onto site. And it feels like Syracuse is not able to respond. Syracuse is really good at skirmishing. They're able to skirmish in a lot of these kind of tighter angles. And that round that they won, that round 3 that they won, they were able to get that skirmish in back, able to get the picks onto the kills, and it felt like Minnesota wasn't able to respond. But when Minnesota is grouped up as a 5, they're able to use all their U-tool to kind of push on the site. Syracuse has been really struggling.
Yeah, and that blind goes in. Zephyr finds Owen. Zephyr also finds Stomp. The trade's not in the favor of Syracuse. Sammy finding Mobuki as they slide in on that Neon, but not finding the pick, and that's immediately 3 members down for Syracuse. 4 as Monster goes down to Shambo, and it's just Pretz here with a Sheriff to their name. A nice shot on to Shambo. And now it's going to be just Pretz alive. They're going to be able to pick up that Vandal looking for a clutch ace here. 40 seconds before that spike goes off. You need 7 for the defusal here. Pretz not going to try to save this. Looks like he's actually going to try and do a little bit of work here, try to find those kills, try to put themselves up in a little bit of a better position in terms of that economy. But this defensive side for Syracuse not looking nearly as strong as it has in the past. On the left, in the showers, that Brimstone is ready, but Henry finds Pretz, and it's all 5 gone for the 1 for Minnesota.
Henry has been so good for the Golden Gophers, just overall making plays, kind of the playmaker for that team, able to get a lot of these kills. And Zephyr right here in Bath just absolutely popped off, took out 2 members. And again, Syracuse has been struggling to deal with Minnesota in a 5v5 situation. In a 5v3 situation, it just was all Golden Gophers. They rolled over SU as they got onto A site. Pretz tried to make a hero play, but it just wasn't enough. Again, 8-3 advantage for the side of the University of Minnesota. And right now they are rolling because they are taking away what SU is really good at, which is those skirmishes. It is just full death ball. It is full 5-man for the side of the Golden Gophers. And right now, Syracuse is struggling to respond.
Yeah, the blind goes in, and Stomp dodges it, finds one with that concuss. Zephyr goes down. Nightfall as well as Convergence Pass falls in. Owen gets hit by, I believe, both of them and goes down. Pretz finds a trade onto Henry. Some takes Pretz, however, Stomp with the Convergence Pass in return. On the molly, needs to back up for a little bit longer. No one hit with that Convergence Pass, however, Stomp, 3 members alive for Syracuse. The laser pointer, as the new coin term, will be in, and Maboogie! Shambo taken down, not Rambo today. And it's going to be a 3-on-2. Stomp finds some, Maboogie finds Sammy, and a good round win for Syracuse as they move into the half.
Really good round. Again, Syracuse is a team that is based on momentum. Sometimes you just have to take those, and they take that final round before the side swap. And again, Stomp took out one, took out another as well. Oh, this is going to be the entire first half replay. Again, we talk about it. Syracuse are the bind kings. They're really strong on this map, but it felt like Minnesota kind of had a strategy going into this. They knew exactly what they were doing. They were able to just kind of group up as a team, push onto sites, be really decisive and effective. And that last round that we saw was kind of the first round where Syracuse was able to kind of dissuade the initial push. And that's kind of the big problem when you do run deathball comps. If you were able to get that initial push onto site, get the plant off, those post-plant situations are really good because you get that kind of member and gun advantage. When you get dissuaded or when you get kind of defended off that initial push, you just don't have enough utility left to pay any of those kind of post-plant situations. SU ended up picking up that really needed round number 4. Again, 8-4 advantage for the side of the University of Minnesota, but SU has shown life.
Absolutely, and now that they're on this attacking side, I want you to notice how slow they played to get on this B site, and now they're playing fast. Stomp finds one, Zephyr goes down, the Haunt goes down as well. That recall available, not choosing to use it here. Monster goes down and finds the plant for that spike. It's going to be a teleport through, but someone's waiting. It will be Owen staying alive. Prowler just barely going to miss through, and there goes the dash from Henry. Finds Owen with the ghost. It's going to be a 4-on-4. 2 members come in from the back site there. One from the spawn, another one's there. Maboogie and Monster find them both. It's now just the 2 members coming in from that B-long site. Syracuse basically playing on the defensive side here. Stomp plays patient, walks around the corner. Henry going to stick the defuse here. Backs up. Pretz finds one. Henry finds Stomp. Just 1 member left. Maboogie finds him. A nice quick round win for Syracuse.
Really good aggression from the side of Syracuse. And you know what you can't do when you're on defense, Ryan? You can't deathball.
No.
So now it's our game. Syracuse is back, baby, as they win round number 2 on the side swap. Again, those skirmishes that SU were just overall better at, they've been able to get. Again, Henry has shown up for this team, I will say. Right now, again, I'm going to give him a little bit of a nickname, King Henry, and the Syracuse are the Baltimore Ravens. He's running for 200 yards, but it just wasn't enough. Maboogie showed up, Pretz showed up, SU pick up round number 1 after the side swap. Again, 8-5 advantage for the side of the Golden Gophers, but Syracuse has shown life on this offensive side. They will have the gun advantage as well, but Henry takes out Monster immediately, has the Bucky to his name, and King Henry shows up, takes out Maboogie as well. What a round!
Yeah, really good, but Pretz stuck in that molly there as Owen finds Henry. Pretz goes down, and it's going to be a good trade. 4-on-2. Minnesota has the advantage here, and you say the Baltimore Ravens, it's a good pick there. I'm more of a fan of Peyton Manning and whatever team he's on at that moment. No, I'm kidding. I'm not a big Peyton Manning fan. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan, but I'm just, you know, making jokes here. I know he doesn't play anymore. Like I said, I'm a Cowboys fan, but, you know. Unfortunately, the Cowboys are not a good team. They have not been a good team in a long time, but that's okay. I have Syracuse to cheer for, and that's what matters. Syracuse Esports, have to clarify that. 2-on-4, Syracuse looking to find their way back into this series here and finding their way back into this match. Bind, a map that they know so well, but in a little bit of a bind themselves. They're going to be able to find themselves a good smoke on the side of Owen. Look for potentially a plant, unless they're going to go for a rotate, looking to clear on through on this shower side. They don't see anyone. The rest of Minnesota, they're not over-investing on any site. Stomp going to get the spike down, and now you see the rotate coming out from Minnesota. 2 from the back and 2 from the side of the attacking spawn. And it's going to be Syracuse, a 2-on-4. They're going to look for anything. These ones are what they're going to need. Do not get Valorant timing Stomp, I beg of you. Going to be looking in that corner. There goes the concuss. Finds the shot and finds the kill. Shambo goes down in heaven. Shambo, or excuse me, Stomp finds Zephyr as well. Owen in showers here. They spot 2. It's now a 2-on-2. Full HP on either side. Stomp has the recall available. Doesn't need to use it though. Lives themselves a little bit longer. Some fakes it a few. Sammy finds Stomp with the stinger. It's going to be Owen alive. Finds one. Owen looking for one more into Sammy being Owen, but Sammy finds Owen. And Syracuse, a really good job. Enough of a stall, and they're going to win that round.
They take that round. Really good play from the side of Stomp right there on that waylay. Was just able, sorry, not on the waylay, but he was just able to show up overall. And again, taking out the members of the side of the Golden Gophers. And it feels like just Henry showing up in that first start, got a 3K run, was able to take out so many members, but just really good play overall from Stomp on this waylay to be able to get onto site. And we're talking about this. Minnesota is really good when they're grouped up as a team, able to cover each other's angles. But when it comes to these skirmishes, these 1-on-1, 2-on-2 situations, Syracuse is able to execute. There's a reason that SU is called the Bind Kings, and they have shown up in this second half, putting together a couple of wins. 8-6 advantage for the side of the Golden Gophers, but SU has life as they have shown up and picked up 2 rounds straight on this offensive side.
Absolutely, and Syracuse looking a little bit stronger on this attacking side here. They've had a little bit of a struggle, but a little bit of a rocky start, but found their way back on top for a little bit of time. Pretz goes down to Henry. Mabugi finds Jam. Mabugi goes down to Zephyr. Henry finds Owen. Monster finds Sammy. Trades on either side. Monster finds an Owen before being concussed. 2-on-2. Syracuse once more. It's going to be a fight of the ages here. 1 minute left through the portal. Monster ready for it. It's going to be on this left side. It's going to be Zephyr. Zephyr not ready for it. Monster finds their third. Stomp looks for something right around the corner. If this was a CS land, you'd hear the stomping of the feet, knowing where people were. And it's going to be some finding Monster, though, on that turn. Stomp now knows where they are. Peeks the corner, spots the head. Can they find it? Shows themselves a little bit. The concuss doesn't quite find it, though. Turns the corner and looks at the kill. Stomp! A nice victory for them. 7-8. Syracuse bringing themselves back in this series.
Ryan, what is a King Henry to a Monster? Monster showed up massively for that round. Took out 3 members. Again, Owen goes down in Bath, but Stomp taking out with the Sheriff, taking out members. Again, killed off Zephyr as well, turned it into a 2-on-1 situation. Good job overall from the Brimstone, from some to try to get something, but Stomp was able to clear it up. SU have picked up 3 straight on this offensive side, and Minnesota has been putting up a fight, but SU have kind of shown up to form back to what they are called, the Bind Kings.
Yep.
And right now, SU is kind of rolling on this offensive side.
Absolutely. And you know, my producer yelled at me because he said Peyton Manning was retired. I know. I also know where he was in 1997. He was drafted in 1998. Monster, Mabugi find their kills. Zephyr finds the trade, but Pretz and Owen find their kills respectively. Owen finds one. Minnesota goes for a fast-acting attack, and they're punished quite quickly.
When you go for these skirmishes versus SU, you get punished. SU is still really strong when it comes to a lot of these gunfights. Again, even though they were losing a lot of those rounds on defense, it did not mean that their gunplay had gone down, and Mabugi was so aggressive. They just weren't expecting it, and Pretz and Owens were able to kind of clean it up. It was just kind of a firing squad for the side of the SU Orange, and they took out the University of Minnesota in that teleporter. 8-8 tied up for the SU Orange as they picked up 4 straight on offense.
Yeah, 4 straight on offense outside of the 1 they won on that defense. 5 rounds in a row for Syracuse. That was the most amount of rounds that Minnesota won in a row, and now Syracuse evens themselves back into this series, looking to go 6 rounds in a row and take their lead once more. Stomp grabs the ultimate orb. The Prowler not going to find its connection. The Nightfall and Convergence Pass available for Syracuse. Only one of those available for the side of Minnesota, and Syracuse much slower this time around. They don't have Spike yet either. They're out looking to scout, see what site they want to engage on. Pretz will grab that soon, but Sammy finds Owen through the wall. That's one smoke gone for Syracuse. Not as smoky on those sites this time around. Stomp has Convergence Pass procced and ready to go. If they choose to use it here, it might be a fast push from Syracuse. There it is, Convergence Pass locked in onto the enemy team. Minnesota gonna be hit by one of them. Mabugi finds one, Stomp finds another. It's gonna be good trades for Syracuse. One up right now. Henry finds Mabugi back in the back spawn there. Stomp finds Sammy. It's a 2-on-3. Pretz finds Henry. It's a 3-on-1. Minnesota disadvantage here. They're coming back from the back site of B long. Syracuse all looking towards that spawn. Stomp recalls back. No one's looking B long quite yet. And it may be the downfall if they're not too prepared for anyone to push in from there. There's one. Some finds it onto Monster, but now Syracuse knows where they are. And Some just going to back up and save that gun. That's going to be a round win for Syracuse. Going to be 9-8 as they pick up 6 rounds in a row and their lead back in this series since round number 3.
Ryan, they have looked really strong, just kind of stringing together rounds. And this is one of those situations where if I am the University of Minnesota, you probably take a timeout. It's one of those situations where you say, okay, we had something going on offense. We were able to kind of group up as a team. We were really decisive in how we played. And now on defense, we've kind of let Syracuse get whatever they want. Again, gunfights have been close, but it feels like in these situations, Mabugi's winning, Stomp is winning, Monster is showing up. The player that we always highlight, which is Pretz, he hasn't even shown up in a lot of these rounds. It feels like kind of the other players are showing up for this team, and that's kind of what you want to see for this team as they're growing together. And just overall, really good for the side of SU to kind of pick up 5 rounds on offense, 6 rounds straight overall, and I'm excited to see kind of what SU can do. And for the side of the University of Minnesota, this is what you expected. Yeah. You went into Bind versus SU. You knew this is a map that they're immensely comfortable on. You've kind of thrown out your opening salvo, and you got a lot of rounds with it. You got 8 rounds. Now that they've responded, how do you show up? Because there has to be a plan B.
Yeah, and you must have the script because they called a timeout there, Gungeon. So maybe you'll have to tell me how this series is going to end. Maybe you're putting a nail biter for my final broadcast here. Who knows? Syracuse, though, forcing that timeout on the side of Minnesota, very, very good for them. And like you said, it's a matter of perspective, right? You put Syracuse on arguably their best map in the entirety of this Valorant map pool, and you've taken 8 rounds off of them. You looked rather dominant at some points of your game, and if you're Minnesota, you're probably feeling pretty confident about that right now. And now it's a matter of, how do you feel? Obviously, you're not done with this map yet, but moving into Lotus next, right? It's like we took rounds rather dominantly against Syracuse's probably best map. That feels pretty good as they're going in to try to even this series back up. That bird goes out, finds a blind on the Stomp, but they're going to be able to just live through it. They don't need to worry about it. But that ult orb has disappeared to the side of Minnesota. And now Mabugi has the judge, Mo Judgy, on this side of things. It's always the shotgun. We have no Mo Shorty yet, but we might get that eventually. Pretz finds one on to Some. There goes the Viper wall. Shambo hiding there with the classic, alone in this room. Pretz, check your corners, finds one, but Shambo takes control. Pretz goes down. It's a 4-on-4, 3-on-4, 3-on-3 as Mabugi and Sammy go down. Stomp and Zephyr find their kills. The combat stick goes in. Syracuse goes fast, and there goes the Nightfall. Finds one. It's going to be Zephyr who goes down to Owen, but not before finding Stomp. Henry finds Owen. It's a 1-on-2. And now it's just going to be Monster looking for something, but Henry comes back around. It's 9-9 as Minnesota takes it back.
Ryan, the thing I was going to point out to you before the kind of round started was that Henry had switched over onto that B site. For a long time, he'd been playing Bath versus Pretz. And again, Pretz took out Some, did not check his corners, gets taken out by Shambo right here. Unfortunate, but one of those situations where, again, Henry is kind of that key player that it feels like Minnesota has said, we take a timeout. Okay, let's rotate him. Because he's not been able to be effective on A-Site, because Syracuse just hasn't really played A-Site too often. A lot of B focus, a lot of mid focus as well. It feels like they're going to utilize their highlight player, their MVP. King Henry is going to be moved around the checkerboard, moved around the chessboard to kind of figure out where he can match up for SU, because he has played immaculately when it comes to gunplay.
Yeah, and you see it here. Pretz not able to find it. What are you aiming at? Some finds Pretz. Just, there's so many people. What are you going to aim at? There's so many things going on. Pratt's not able to find one, though. The Viper's Pit comes in from the side of Minnesota. Mabugi pops the laser pointer, but no Cat is going to follow it today. Zephyr in the side of that Viper's Pit. Mabugi spotted on the reload. Henry finds 2. Mabugi and Stomp go down. 2 on 5. Minnesota dominantly taking this round number 19 as the haunt goes in. And Syracuse in a little bit of a struggle spot here. Shambo peeks it for just a second. Owen as well, but neither spot either. And it's still a very good advantage for the side of Minnesota. Owen finds 1, but Henry with their 3rd finds the kill. Monster needs to invest to get this spike, but finds one onto Henry, that main fragger for the side of Minnesota. Dog comes in. Monster needs to live it. The Dog does find Monster, and now he's in a little bit of a pickle here. Not going to be able to find Sammy, and now it's 10 rounds to the Minnesota Golden Gophers Goldie.
Good round for the side of the Golden Gophers. Monster just had no chance right there. Again, dogs, birds, oh my, right there. Just gets flashed, taken out. King Henry showing up for his team. He did go down right at the end, but 3K overall have been so consistent for this team. And right now, it feels like SU, most likely if they lose this next round, if they can, they will take another timeout. It's one of those situations. Are they able to take another timeout, Ryan?
On this half, yes.
Yes. That's one of those situations where you're going to want to take another timeout because right now it feels like they've moved Henry over to B site. He is holding it down for this team. That means that A site is very attackable. It means that A site is defended only by 2 members, so you can kind of go on. As Stops gets onto site, Sammy takes him out immediately. Monster takes out Sammy as well as they get onto site. The planter was killed by the Brimstone ulti. Monster goes down. Pretz takes out Henry. Owen takes out some. 3-on-2 advantage for the side of the SU Orange as the 2 members rotate over from B site, but Shambo and Zephyr are a little bit too late. Nightfall comes down. SU does get hit by it, but Pretz is sitting in Bath. He is safe. Can he clutch up for his team? Can he show up? Can the captain get it done? But 2 members sitting as they go onto site for the side of the Golden Gophers.
And it's 3-on-2. Syracuse in the good spot. And that spike is down as well. There's really nothing for Minnesota to use here. They've got an initiator and they've got a controller. A lot can be done with these 2 characters, or with these 2 roles, I should say. Zephyr fakes the defuse for a quick second. There goes Mabugi finding Zephyr on top of the molly. Mabugi finds another onto Shambo. 10-10. This series is close here as it's even once more.
The crazy thing, Ryan, is that Minnesota is taking more rounds off Syracuse on bind than Boise State has. It's one of those situations where they have really shown up. They had a good plan of attack. SU adapted. Now they've kind of switched it up as well, and SU has now adapted. So I'm interested to see. This is the 3rd punch. This is one of those things where these heavyweight boxers have gone into now round 21. They've hit each other with their first move, their second move, and now it's kind of like, what do we have left in the tank? What can we do to kind of show up? The player I want to highlight again is, where is Henry? He's now switched over to A site, guarding those tunnels, and now Syracuse is attacking B. Again, one of those situations where, do they have map packs? No, they don't. But they have been adjusting really well to kind of play around this really key player for the side of the Minnesota Gophers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Minnesota does have the ultimate advantage if they choose to use any of them, but Syracuse, a fast push on this B site. Mabugi finds the first one. Shambo goes down, gets spotted out by... Don't believe that was a Seeker. It could have been a Seeker. I was not fully paying attention there. Monster gets the plant down. There goes all the molly, all the util. Stomp finds 2. Zephyr and Sammy go down. And it's going to be the Brimstone there looking for something. Mabugi finds Henry. Just 1 member alive. Stomp finds him. 11-10. Syracuse, a flawless victory for them.
So aggressive, so quick, and so decisive. SU taking a play out of the Golden Gophers playbook just to get onto site immediately. Mobucky took out the fade instantly, and it just felt like Minnesota just could not respond. Again, the key player for that round, Henry, had the operator, but he was the last person onto site. Couldn't get any done, and right now, Minnesota's in a little bit of a bind, Ryan, because they don't have any weapons, they don't have a lot of econ, and Syracuse is at 11 rounds. They can go to, at least force the tie if they win this next one, and they have ultis available as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and now Syracuse are looking to put themselves in a map win scenario here. They've got Convergence Paths and Viper's Pit available if they choose to use them here. Syracuse not going to play fast this time, and I like this. There comes the convergence pass coming out from Stomp. They go in, they have the ability to go back if they choose to use it. Pretz finds Henry. It's a really big pick for Syracuse now. Owen going to be smoked off for a quick second. Mabugi looks for something with the stun. Comes in, finds one. Shambo finds a train. Zephyr finds one with a Bucky and a Stomp. Pretz finds Zephyr in return. 2-on-3, Syracuse advantage. And just like that, the fight silences for a quick second here. And it's going to be Syracuse looking to rotate. Monster finds some. And now it's just one member alive. Shambo finds Monster. It's a 2-on-1. Syracuse rotates back over to A site here where they're going to get that spike down. Viper's Pit available. Syracuse can choose to use it if they want to, but they trust one another. And this is really the big test for Syracuse. Trades has been a really, really big working point for this team. Will they be able to handle it this time around? They're going to go for these ones and give Minnesota the ability to win this. Shambo clearing their sights, cutting the pizza, finding out if there's anyone there. There's one member waiting in lamps or in showers and the other one in lamps. Pretz available here, and Owen backs up for even more time. Shambo fakes it a fuse. There goes the peek coming out from Pretz. They take the one, and it's going to be Shambo looking to get the half. Does find the half, but Owen is there and finds Shambo. 12 rounds for Syracuse, keeping that Viper's Pit online.
Really well set up from the side of the SU Orange right there. Overall, just had planted perfectly so that even if Pretz died, they were able to kind of get him out. And again, overall, got onto B site pretty quickly. Weren't as decisive as they were in round number 11, but the big thing to mention was that Pretz kind of hanging back took out Henry in the flank situation. Again, 25 and 15 on this Waylay for the side of the Golden Gophers. He was so big for that team, and him going down is kind of the key difference between a round win and a round loss. 12-10 advantage to the side of the SU Orange, and just really good overall for Pretz to kind of show up. Again, it feels like right now on map number 1 on Bind, the entire team has shown up, and Pretz has kind of been okay. Monster takes out Henry as well, and now SU has a 5-on-4 advantage. They can just push onto whichever site they want. And again, Nightfall is available. Viper's Pit is available. SU should be able to roll onto the site as long as they're just so decisive as they go in.
Yeah, this is really good for Syracuse, and they need this win here. Bind being their best map. This is the map for them to win. If it's so complicated for them on this map, it's going to be close going forward. Stomp and Mabugi find kills. Shambo finds Stomp in return. 4-on-2. Nightfall's in. Haunt as well, but Haunt won't find anything. Just barely shy of heaven. There goes the Viper's Pit coming out from Pretz now. No ultimates for Syracuse. Monster finds Zephyr. It's a 1-on-4. Can the Minnesota Golden Gophers make Goldie proud on this map? And they won't be able to. Mabugi finds them, and Syracuse's Bind once more becomes victorious. 1-0 Syracuse.
Ryan, the smoke was down, and Sammy on this sky was locked out of heaven. They weren't able to get anything done. The Viper's Pit was down as well, and just overall really clean play from Syracuse. And I just honestly, I thought this map is one of those maps where, again, the Golden Gophers lost, but it's one of those really good losses because it's one of those things where you can see both of these teams came into this map. Syracuse said, we love Bind. We are really good at this. We can execute on this. And Minnesota had an idea and a game plan to kind of punch them immediately and say, we have this exact idea. This is what we're going to do. We're going to execute this really cleanly. They got to a big advantage, 8-4 on offense for their team, and it felt like on offense for the side of Syracuse, they were able to kind of come back into it because they kind of created those smaller skirmishes. They weren't fighting out 5v5. They were playing those smaller skirmishes, and it felt like every single round that they won, players besides Pretz showed up. And again, Pretz is the best player on the team. He's the captain. He's kind of the standard for this team. But it felt like everyone else showed up. Stomp showed up. Monster showed up. They were able to kind of win these rounds. And finally, in the final rounds to kind of clinch the game, the person to seal the deal, the Harvey Specter of the team, Pretz was able to show up for the team, kind of close it out. 13-10 win for the side of the SU Orange, but just really good map overall from both these teams and a really fun map.
Yeah, really good job from that Syracuse squad to take that victory. And, you know, if you're Syracuse, you're a little rocky at the moment because that is your best map. Then Minnesota was okay going to fight you against it, and they took 10 rounds off of you. But in return, you're also like, we still got it, right? We've still got it. We still have Bind. Now you're moving into Lotus, right? But if you're either of these teams, there's some caution, right? Obviously, Minnesota, you're facing a 2-0 now, right? But if you're Syracuse, you gave 10 rounds to Minnesota on your best map, right? And so both these teams a little bit rocky going into Lotus because this is a map that neither team outside of scrims, outside of maybe other tournaments, really play. Actually, no, just not in other tournaments. It's back in the map pool now, so I lied.
Yeah.
Lotus is brand new, right?
Yep.
So, well, not brand new, but you get the idea. It's brand new in terms of these teams playing it, and so it's going to be wonky, it's going to be crazy, it's going to be different, and at the end of the day, it's what Syracuse likes to be. They like to be different, and so I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out. Like I said, I'm pretty sure we'll see the Astra, but I am curious to see what will end up being the compositions.
And the kind of benefit or the boon for the side of Syracuse is that Stomp and Monster are playing really well. In terms of the gunplay and in terms of execution, they're playing really strong. So it's one of those situations when you have your, I wouldn't say, again, I don't like to use the word secondary players, but when it comes to, when you have your other players already being playmakers, Pretz is going to show up. Eventually, Pretz will show up. It's one of those things where it's death, taxes, and Pretz showing up for this team. And he will be there eventually. And so it's one of those situations where now that the entire team is playing well, eventually Pretz will start winning these rounds. And for the side of the Minnesota, it feels like Henry's showing up, but some of the other players, while they executed really well, especially when it comes to their strategy, in a lot of these gunplay, in a lot of these kind of smaller skirmishes, Zephyr showed up on the Viper, but in a lot of the smaller skirmishes, it felt like it was always SU's advantage. So I kind of want to see the rest of the team kind of be there, especially in a lot of these smaller skirmishes, because SU's gunplay right now is really strong.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have to see what ends up happening here in a moment. But before we go on break, I'm going to leave you with something, right? Like I said, Syracuse, we like to be different, not just as a team, but as an institution. And in case you're curious, I was a little interested, right? So in terms of the Syracuse orange, right? Syracuse actually does not have a trademark on the orange color. However, the Syracuse orange is trademarked. In comparison to schools like Clemson, the Clemson orange, the Texas burnt orange from Texas Longhorns, and the University of Tennessee burnt orange are all trademarked under Tennessee orange, Texas orange, and Clemson orange. Syracuse orange is the only color that isn't trademarked, but Syracuse orange as a name is. So, enjoy that. My producer's yelling at me to send it. So, we'll be right back with more action going to Lotus in game number 2. Syracuse up 1-0. And welcome back to our lovely world of this broadcast booth. Gungeon, we had a phenomenal game that won there. Syracuse found their way to a 13-10 victory. A little rocky, still come out on top, finding that victory, going 1-0 in the series so far. And we move on to Lotus for game number 2.
Yeah, I'm excited, especially with Lotus being a map that we just haven't seen a lot.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where we'll see how these teams kind of play it out, because it's going to be a map that's going to be in the pool that we're going to see a lot, especially as we kind of look towards Vegas.
Yeah.
So one of the maps that few times you'll get actual live stage practice besides scrims, besides kind of the playing by yourself or playing with the team. It'll be interesting to see kind of how they execute overall.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what Syracuse does, because I will say Minnesota has kind of came into this series with a game plan overall.
Yeah, they did. Absolutely. And I mean, Syracuse right now in that 6th seed spot, and they're looking to do everything they can to keep themselves, if not 6, definitely up to that 5, right? And right now Syracuse has done an incredibly good job at just keeping themselves solidified and keeping themselves in this spot where they'll be able to play in Vegas, right? And play really well, especially as they come up and take some of these matches. And you know, we talk about how well Syracuse played to get up against the top level seeds right now. Currently fighting for 3rd seed is going to be, as you mentioned to me earlier, Michigan State and Utah.
Yep.
Going to be fighting for that 3rd seed, and it'd be funny to see a nice Syracuse, you know, rematch, right, with one of those teams, whether it be Michigan State or Utah, sort of the 6th seed and the 3 seed. And at least for my March Madness bracket, I had Tennessee beating Virginia, so oh well. But it would be possible, right? I mean, there's a reason that teams can beat those teams, right? There's a reason Tennessee beat Virginia. There's a reason Syracuse has looked well up against not just the 3 seeds in this competition, but the 1s and the 2 seeds. And it is going to be really important for them to, 1, not make the small mistakes they're making, right? And 2, to continue to polish what they're already good at, right?
Yeah, one of the things you talked about and one of the things you mentioned, Ryan, was that you wanted Syracuse to be a lot better about kind of creating those crossfire angles and kind of making sure that they're able to check the corners, make sure that they have those crossfire angles, and they executed that pretty well as well on Bind in that situation where it was a 2v1 with Pretz, and I believe Monster was the one. And so it's going to be interesting to see if they can execute, especially on a map that kind of no one's really seen. So I'm interested to see kind of how they execute on this map. What are some of the picks? I know you mentioned Astro will most likely also be in play. Wele will most likely be a standard, especially with Mabugi and kind of how he's played, as well as Henry on the side of the Golden Gophers, how well he was able to execute. I believe he went 25 and 15 on map number 1, and it felt like in a lot of those situations he was just taking people out one after another. So interesting to see is for casters, for Syracuse, a player to shut down, because he was so on fire. It felt like anytime you were taking a 1v1 versus Henry, you were losing. And so I'm interested to see if they can stop King Henry from going for 200 yards, or if he's going to stampede and run over Syracuse in this map number 2 on Lotus.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And I mean, I may be insulting my own intelligence here as we, you know, get Lotus picks up and running. But when you think of the state of Minnesota, where is it? If you just immediately thought, like, what is that in your head? Where do you think Minnesota should be?
I feel like it's the way I think about it is, I know Michigan has like the 2 halves.
Okay.
And so left of Michigan is where I believe Minnesota is.
Okay. Well, you're right. It's right up there. It's in the north. It's also called the city, or not the city, but the state of 10,000 lakes. I don't know the history behind that, but you know, it's up there in the far north, and they are one of the main cities for country music. Fun fact. Don't know why Minnesota of all places. You think like Texas, you think Nashville, you think Knoxville, you think those places, not Minnesota. But I found that a little interesting, because when I think Minnesota, I'm like, yeah, Midwest. Granted, I was also casting with Carson last night, so that plays a part. But getting back in the game here, talk me through the compositions we're taking a look at, because I see no Astra, and I'm sad.
So on the defender side, again, we're going to be running pretty standard. The only thing that's going to be different is going to be that Omen pick swapping out for the Brimstone. For the side of Owen, Pretz is going to be on the Viper. Mabugi and Stomp again on the Waylay, and Neon Monster on that Fade, which he did really well on. For the side of the Golden Gophers, they are hovering right now. They have the Neon, the Tejo, which I'm excited to see, KO. We have the Sky as well as the Omen. So again, very different comps from both of these teams. Again, Lotus, a map that has just kind of come back into the pool. Excited to see kind of what these teams can execute, and excited to see what the Golden Gophers can execute, because again, you talked about it, they are looking right now, staring down at 2-0. Syracuse kind of is playing with house money, and they've been executing really well in terms of overall gunplay and skirmishing, and especially on a map like Lotus where they have the three sites in terms of being able to kind of play some of those smaller corner and tighter angles in those skirmishes. Syracuse was able to execute really well on Bind, and most likely will move kind of that execution over onto Lotus. Again, Lotus has been changed, I believe a little bit with patch 12.2 or 12.05. So interested to see kind of how these teams execute, because it's going to be kind of the last, or one of the last times they'll get to have some stage games on Lotus besides scrims before we head to Vegas.
Yeah, and this is the weird part. You take a look at these two compositions. First off, Vice we haven't seen in a very long time, and is a Sentinel, right? No Sentinel for Syracuse. On their side, they're playing a double controller composition with the double duelists, very similar to what they just played, except the Omen instead of the Brimstone. And then you have Minnesota a little bit differently, right? Double initiator with a solo sentinel, and this is a little bit more different than what we've seen, and it's sort of what you expect, right? You're on Lotus, you're on something different. It makes sense that things are going to be different.
That was very impressive.
Minnesota is running really aggressively onto side. Mabugi takes out Henry. Sum takes out Mabugi as well. 4-on-3 situation for the side of the Golden Gophers. Owen does take out Sum. Spike is down, but are they going to be able to get onto this A side? Zephyr takes out Owen as well. 2-on-3 situation for the side of the Syracuse Orange as Zephyr pushes through. Will he be able to get through A main?
Yeah, I mean, 2 members for Syracuse here. It's 3 from Minnesota. They have the spike. Pretz finds 1. Pretz looks for another onto Sammy. Can't quite find the shots. 48 HP. They don't win to that damage duel. Sammy fakes out the plan on this B site. They're going to look to rotate over onto C. Vice going to stick around and lurk for a little bit longer here. Monster looks for something. In that top will be Zephyr. Sammy goes to the plant. Pretz finds Zephyr. Now it's just a 2-on-1. That spike is down. 45 seconds. The clock begins. The Prowler goes in. Sammy going to take out Pretz. The Ghost is traded out as Pretz goes down. Monster versus Sammy. It's a 1-on-1 here. Monster back on this C site where that spike has been planted. Peeks out through the smoke. Can't quite find him. And Sammy finds it. Round number 1 goes to Minnesota.
Really good round from the side of the Golden Gophers overall, just in terms of execution. Again, I would say Monster was Boogie was a little bit aggressive on that Neon, being able to kind of get right onto 4 members for the side of the Golden Gophers. Wasn't enough. Again, gun advantage for the side of the Minnesota Golden Gophers now. And again, in these pistol rounds, it's one of those situations, Ryan, where it does end up being kind of a little bit of a coin flip, but Pretz did show up, got those shots, wasn't able to take out the Omen, which then led to this situation where the Omen was able to clean up. 1-0 advantage to the side of University of Minnesota as we head onto map number 2, or round number 2.
Yep, Pretz going to be taking a couple shots, but lives themselves for a little bit longer. And, you know, Syracuse, whether it be a Haven issue or a 3-point issue, is really going to come down to how Lotus is played here. And we're going to have to see how Syracuse really goes about it. One of the biggest things with Syracuse was that mid-control on Haven, where they didn't really have the ability to. But on a site like this, on Lotus specifically, mid is more of a rotate rather than a site plant for most of these teams. So I'm curious to see how Syracuse plays it. It's also a lot more condensed and a lot more closed in. Press, the trigger discipline, finds 1. Headshot onto Henry. Looks for another, but taken down by Sum with the Guardian. 4-on-4, even on both sides. Minnesota pushes themselves onto this site here. Spun, or Sum, excuse me, gets the plant down with that spike. Mabugi gonna be tethered for a quick second there, but is able to live through it. Now it's a fight on this point as the rest of Syracuse needs to come up this ramp. Shambo spotted out. There goes a stun. Owen trying to live through. Prowler goes in. Mabugi finds Sammy, but just 3-piece Sum. 1 + 1 + 1 is the sum of 3, and it's gonna be a round number 2 for Minnesota.
3 members went in and 3 members dropped down. What a massive kill for the Tejo right there. SU looked like they were going to be able to be a little bit thrifty. Press with insane trigger discipline to take out Henry, but some just knocked every single member down. Ryan, that's one of those situations where, you know, when you're at a bowling alley and you get a strike and there's the animation, I feel like that should have played right there because the Tejo just took out 3 members as the strike was hit. Minnesota picks up another round as they have a 2-0 advantage on Lotus.
Yeah, really, really good job. We talked about round number 1 win means round number 2, and now the guns are even with a bonus. On the side of Minnesota, Syracuse looking to make something happen here. This A site is going to be something I'm curious to see if it gets a little bit more pushy when an operator could be in play. The drone comes in, the stealth drone from the Tejo. We don't see that very often because we don't see Tejo very often. But no value going to be found. They're going to look to rotate on through. It looks like a push. Few members on B. It's going to be one on either side here. Stomp, waiting. It's going to be Syracuse playing patient. I like this here as the rest of Minnesota looks to push on through onto this B site. Owen going to be the first contest as Zephyr peeks out, the shoulder spotted, smoke goes in, there goes the neon, Stomp finds Henry, it's 1 down now, it's going to be a salvo coming in from the side of Minnesota. They're going to rotate through that door. The moving door is sort of the specialty of this map. Pretz peeks through the smoke, gets blinded out by the dog, some finds him with the Guardian. Owen backs away for just a second, lives themselves through, Shambo finds Stomp, but Shambo taken out by Owen, 3 on 3, no advantage either way, 30 seconds left. Some going to get the plant down, but Owen through the wall finds them. It's now going to be no spike down for the side of Minnesota, 2 on 3, Zephyr goes for the spike plant now. It's going to be all the members of Minnesota ready for the site here. Mabugi goes in, dashes in with the Phantom, doesn't find a kill though. Zephyr finds them, no trade. 2 on 2. Health advantage for Syracuse, however, if you're looking at the small details here. Zephyr finds Monster on the peak. It's just Owen alive. Comes out through the smoke, can't quite find it. Sammy finds him, and a round win for Minnesota.
Minnesota pick up another round, and overall really good play from the side of the Golden Gophers. Again, Henry went down immediately, and it felt like they didn't panic, they didn't struggle, and this is one of those situations where Minnesota's been really good at decisively pushing on the site, and that was one of the situations where they did falter. It felt like that initial push wasn't as strong. The util hadn't kind of completely separated SU, and even then they were able to recover, and I just really like how Minnesota's playing. Again, it feels like they're still executing the same thing we saw on Bind. They grew up as a team. They grew up into this big Voltron death ball combo that I've been talking about, and they push on the site. That was one of those situations where Henry went a little bit too quick, got taken out, but they still were able to execute. Zephyr on the Vice has been really strong for the team, and right now Minnesota's up 3-0. I do want to talk about it, Ryan, as well.
Sure.
In terms of just overall how they're executing, I like the Sky pick. And again, one random thing to talk about is that as a team that is kind of grouping up, using all util, and pushing through immediately, they do take a lot of damage overall from just spray, right? Because you hear all these footsteps, you're going to just shoot into the smoke, shoot into all this util. And the Sky regrowth has been really big. It's been healing them up for a lot of health, being able to kind of heal them up so that they're able to take any of those post-plant fights. So I really like that Sky pick from Shambo, just be able to kind of a wrinkle in this comp and kind of making it why they're able to execute this big death ball, because even after they get some of those pot shots in the initial push, they're healthy for the post-plant fights.
Yeah, and I do want to take a quick moment. There's a tech pause going on, which is why Gungeon just got to really analyze everything, which like never happens. You only get 30 seconds. That time you got like a minute. It's great, especially when you consider that I yap for almost 2 minutes straight sometimes. So it feels nice to not have to talk all the time. But that tech pause going in on the side of Minnesota, I do want to give quick love and shout out to our producer over on the left side of where we are. There's a black wall in the middle of us, but he can still hear us. I want to give a big shout out to him for fixing the lag issues. As you see, the screen is nice and pretty now, and as he said it, sometimes you just gotta unplug stuff and plug it back in, and that's the #1 issue in IT half the time. So remember, before you call someone and get put on hold for 30 minutes, turn it on and off again, unplug it and plug it back in. I guarantee it's gonna work. Speaking of working, Minnesota found their way back in the game, and it's a 3-0 lead for them.
They're playing it slow again, Ryan. Again, looking for any sort of space, looking for any sort of kind of pick. Mabugi with the Sheriff takes him out. Some had been kind of executing really well on this map #2, but he gets taken down 4 on 5. disadvantage for the side of the Golden Gophers. SU, again, kind of stopping that initial push, and I'm excited to see kind of where Minnesota go in as they kind of have a little bit of mid control, but are pushing onto this B site.
Yeah, you know, the song goes, the deputy killed the sheriff, but this case in time, the deputy used the sheriff, and it was a great kill for them, and that ultimate's gone. I mean, we just need to talk about Tejo ultimate here in a second. It's Owen, wait, hang on. To trigger discipline, wait, hang on, wait, hang on, wait, hang on. Oh no, Zephyr dies, but Owen goes down to Henry, not able to find the picks accordingly. Sammy finds Stomp. It's now a fight in this top end. The blind goes in, Mabugi paranoid. Sammy finds Monster, the TP goes forward, Prince is ready for it, but can't quite find the shot. Oh no, Sammy finds them. It's a 1-on-3. Mabugi is the only one alive on this Neon.
Has a sheriff to his name, can he get it done? Again, a round where SU did not have enough credits, I believe credits is what they call it
yes.
in Valorant, to buy. So it's one of those situations where he's just trying to get something done. Check the corner, wasn't there. Henry takes out Mabugi. Round number 4 for the side of the Golden Gophers. 4-0 advantage on map number 2, and SU need to kind of put it together. Again, one of those situations where they lost the initial round, so round number 2 was already kind of a foregone conclusion. Lost round number 3 as well in terms of just overall gunplay. I'm excited to see kind of what Syracuse can do because they are executing well. It just seems like sometimes the shots aren't landing. Yeah,
exactly. And I mean, this is sort of one of the things you worry about is Syracuse has had time to sort of look at how they play Abyss, Haven, Split, Bind. Now you have Lotus and Pearl for maps 2 and 3, maps that haven't been in the competitive map pool in a while, therefore the tournament map pool for a while. And it becomes very prevalent when a team doesn't have very much experience on it. And right now, Minnesota is just playing this map better. Syracuse doesn't have a lot of experience on it, and therefore it's a little bit of a struggle for them. They need to find their way back in. The blind goes in, finds 2 with that bird from the sky. And I mean, Tejo, we talked about this character not seen very often, and a very scary character. I mean, you have the ultimate used, or have the ultimate available. It's called Armageddon. I just want to make clear how scary that word is. When you call an ultimate something like that, like, sure, we have Overdrive, we're calling it Laser Pointer. How about Armageddon? That is just frightening to hear. It's just missiles raining fire against you. It's not the best thing to go up against. Syracuse killed them on early on last round. It could have been good for him, but it wasn't quite enough. 5-on-5 here as the rest of Minnesota looks to rotate. Sammy got them way all over, and they live. Stop, not able to find the kill. Shambo, however, on the other side of things, finds 1. Pretz finds Sammy. It's going to be able to live Owen for a little bit longer here. Monster on this A site all alone. It's going to be him versus the Storm, or versus the Sky. Stomp, excuse me. Convergence pass used. Monster and Pretz find their kills. 4-on-2. Syracuse in a good spot here. 20 seconds. 4 seconds needed to put that spike down and have it activate. Syracuse has the Viper's Pit available. Much less of a scary name than Armageddon. But Syracuse in a good spot. It's going to be a forced push onto B side here. Mabugi spots them some. Force to plant. If they can stop them for even a second, it'll be good. They go in. Mabugi finds a kill. Traded out by Henry. Pretz finds them, though. 400 credits will be given to Minnesota, but the round will be given to Syracuse.
Really good round from the SU Orange. And again, one of the things that I want to talk about, Ryan, is that Minnesota for a long time has been really good at, once they get onto site, they are decisive, they execute, and they plant the bomb. This was one of the first rounds where they got pretty deep onto site, pretty deep onto that A site, and they pulled back. They'd used a good amount of util to kind of get onto site, so once they kind of pulled back and went onto another site, they just didn't have enough util to kind of overwhelm Syracuse, and in those kind of straight-up gunfights, SU has been executing better than Minnesota has, so it's one of those situations where I think Minnesota kind of went away from their game plan, and that led SU to have an opening as they pick up their first round win on map number 2, but Minnesota still has a 4-1 advantage.
Yeah, but the operator is out. That's one of the things I was questioning, is what the game plan was going to do and how the game was going to change when that operator comes out. Stomp being the one to hold it here. The Haunt finds people early on. Monster on this fade has been a character, or has been a player that's really been something to look out for. Mabucky on the breakable wall, ready for something. There goes the Tejo Armageddon. It's scary. It's a scary name, and it's not going to find anyone, but it's going to be a good split. Owen finds Sammy. Owen goes down to Henry. Monster finds Henry. There goes Shambo on the Monster. Mabugi falls down to Zephyr. There goes the operator kill from Stomp on to Zephyr. It's a 2-on-2. Stomp gets the plant down. The Seekers go out, and now it quiets down once more. Spike is down. Viper's Pit available for Syracuse. They're on this basically attacking side here through the rotating revolving door. They're going to cheat it out. It's going to be Shambo taken down through that tree. The tree of life is not your friend tonight, and it's going to be a nice stun that goes in, but Sum takes out Pretz just in time. One-on-one, Stomp looking for this Tejo. Turns the corner, spots him in the corner, finds them, finds the kill, and we'll get to the defusal. A little messy, but Syracuse, Rocky to the top.
It was a little bit suspect at the end, but SU do pick... It was a little bit suspect at the end, but SU do pick up the round win. 2-4 advantage still for the side of the Golden Gophers, but overall, really well played from the side of SU. Again, that Armageddon did not get anything. And so it was one of those situations where Monster was able to just kind of peek around the corner, get a lot of damage down, and Stomp had a really good position to pick up that 3K. I don't even know how he saw him right there because I'm a caster, not even controlling anything. And I said, how did he see him? But again, picks up the 3K, picks up the round win. Ulti advantage for the side of SU as they have 4 out of the 5 ultimates available. Vice does have the Steel Garden. Again, one of those aggressive ulti-sounding names besides the Armageddon.
It really
but
does.
yeah, it's just so aggressive for the side of Minnesota. But Stomp takes out Sammy. Aggression be aggression as SU pick up the first kill in round number 7.
Yeah, I like how Stomp is playing with this operator and this waylay. It's kind of similar to early Jet Dash, where you go in, you get the operator kill, and you dash out. Yeah. Very much similar, right? Using that sort of engage, they activate, they go in, and then they refract accordingly. But I like to say recall back to safety, and it's very much a good position for them to be in. Viper's Pit going to be active over on to that C site. Going to be very difficult for any engage. The Nightfall was peeked out for a second for Monster, but they choose not to use it there. Mabugi going to be looking for something here. Henry right around the corner. It could be an early fast push here. Mabugi throws in the stun. It's absolutely beautiful, but they're not able to find anyone still alive. Shambo finds Stomp. Mabugi goes down to Henry. Owen on to Henry. Owen on to Shambo. Gonna be taken down. The Steel Garden goes out. It's just a pistol to your name, but he barely gets out of it. It's not gonna matter. The Phantom still up. It's a 3-on-2. Syracuse finding their way back into this series. It's gonna be the Teo peeking through. Some finds Owen. Monster pops out the Nightfall. Finds some traded out by Zephyr. 1-on-1. Viper v Vice. Excuse me. A lot of V's going into this matchup here. Vice does have the spike for the side of Minnesota. Pretz back on this attacking side where they last won it. Stomp ended up winning that 1v1 against the Tejo. Now Pretz needs to win the 1v1 against Zephyr. Last time Zephyr was hiding in this tree, so Pretz knows they might be there once more. But be aware, it is a Sentinel, so it is possible for Pretz to get noticed out. You heard it earlier, I believe that was the wall going up for the Vice, if my audio cues are correct. And Zephyr watching this corner. And they're going to look for it here, the blind, excuse me, not the wall. And they're going to peek it. Pretz, calm, calculated, headshot, round win.
Ryan, when it comes to winning a round, when it comes to winning those 1v1s, the best person we have out there is Pretz. The captain shows up again, picks up 3 rounds straight for the side of the SU Orange, and again, they are fighting back. We talked about it. How can they deal with a 3-map site? They've been doing pretty well. Again, Mabugi, unfortunate, but Owen was so big in this round to be able to take out 2 members from B upper. And again, just overall, SU's been playing really well in these gunfights. Have gotten a little bit unfortunate in terms of some Valorant timing, but Pretz was able to take out Zephyr, pick up round number 3. 3 rounds straight, still an advantage for the side of the Golden Gophers, but SU has put up a fight, have 2 ultimates to their name as well. And the thing I want to mention is that Minnesota has been really big about just committing to a site completely. Oh, Mabugi with this Bucky.
Oh, Mabucky. Okay, spot it out. The dog is going to force him out. Yep, just run away. It's going to be the lasers coming out from the side of Minnesota. Mabugi runs through the wall, finds the kill. Henry taken down. Laser pointer of their own finds one. Owen finds Shambo. Some goes down as well. It's now a 5-on-2. Syracuse has the advantage. The Mabucky comes back out. The Prowler finds one onto Sammy. Monster and Owen find their kills. Zephyr and Sammy fall. Flawless round win. 4 rounds in a row. Syracuse, they ain't given up Lotus yet.
Cats to a laser pointer. They were all in the hallway and they all got taken down. Neon v Neon fights always look a little bit strange because everyone's just kind of dashing around and moving around, but the laser pointer, he picked up the kill onto the Neon, got the laser pointer activated, and just shredded every person. Members of his team were able to kind of help him out at the end to take out the other 2, but SU pick up 4 rounds straight. It is tied up on Lotus, and Minnesota kind of has to figure out where they want to go, because in terms of the first couple rounds, they were able to execute and be really decisive. But I will say, SU has kind of picked up that when Minnesota goes onto a site, it's every single member.
Yeah.
They're not going for flanks. They're not going for any of these kind of weirder angles. Every single member is going to be in that hallway. So if you have enough resources and enough guns, you can take them out, kind of fish in a barrel style.
Absolutely, and Stomp now with the Outlaw. They don't have enough money for the Operator. They know this guy was there originally, but they're not there anymore. Paranoia goes in from Owen on this B site, in return takes one of their own from the side of Minnesota. Stomp pushed very far forward on this C site for any engage from the side of Minnesota. Has a Sheriff to their name, the other gun being an Outlaw. Not the best gun to take if you're hiding in the corner, but the Sheriff to a double headshot could be. Syracuse playing very, very passive at the moment, waiting for Minnesota to engage. They played it very well so far. No timeouts from either side either. Syracuse in a very good spot here. Zephyr spotted out just barely. There goes the wall. Stomp finds one, can't quite find the other. Henry takes the trade in return. Maboogie an immediate rotate onto this side. The Mobucky ready to be used. Peeks out through the corner. A lot of smokes come in. Owen finds one on to Henry. It's a 4-on-3 as Some finds Owen. It's a 3-on-3. Sammy finds Pretz and Some gets a plant down. Maboogie comes out but doesn't check behind them. Zephyr finds them. It's now just Monster alive. Monster against the world. And it's just going to be the stealth drone who spots him out just barely in time. Suppressed, no abilities available to Monster here. No prowlers, no haunt, no nothing to use here. Just gun skill, which may be all he needs. He finds two, but no! He peeks the corner with the haunt, and Some finds him. Minnesota puts a stop to Syracuse's run.
I thought you were about to, I guess, caster bless him right there, Ryan, because one of those situations where it felt like he was just suppressed, but he just had enough. Stomp, again, takes out one with the Sheriff. And one of the things I want to mention, Ryan, is that we talk about these situations. We've seen it a couple times where members aren't checking these corners. We've had some trigger discipline from the side of SU, and that kind of comes with the fact that these people haven't played these maps before. It's one of those situations where you always think about it every time when you're playing Bind or Haven. You're like, okay, I got to check this corner when I run out to site. I forgot this corner existed, and there's a guy out there with the Sheriff, and SU was really close to picking up that 5th round in a row. Minnesota did execute really well. Again, unfortunate that Monster wasn't able to get that caster bless, but really good round from the side of the Golden Gophers to finally stop the 4-round win streak from the side of the SU Orange. 5-4 advantage for the side of Minnesota as we hit into round number 10, and I'm excited to see kind of what they do, because again, it feels like Minnesota has mixed it up a little bit. The things that I was mentioning before, Ryan, was that every single member was grouping up and running through a site, running through an angle, running through bend. And now they've kind of been a little bit more sparse about, okay, let's relax, because every time we do that, SU has been really big about showing up, using all their util and kind of just firing it down. But as I say that, 4 members rush on the site.
Yeah, a lot of util used here, from the wall to the blind to the pit to the smoke. Everything is used. Through the rotating door will be just surviving. Henry finds Monster, and the Tejo will get healed, but Pretz finds Henry. A trade is good for them. Armageddon on a small site can be dangerous. Convergence pass popped out. Stomp finds one. Pretz finds two. Zephyr finds Stomp, but Pretz finds a trade onto Some. Pretz looking for a 4th. Zephyr goes down, or Zephyr finds Pretz, excuse me, but Maboogie finds the trade, and Syracuse goes even once again.
The MVP of the round was that Waylay, because I think that conversion path hit literally every single member on the side of the Golden Gophers. Every single member was just stunned, was not able to play right here, and Stomp was just able to pick them off. Pretz as well gets a 3K in that round, pick up round number 5 for the side of the SU Orange as round number 10 concludes. We are tied up 5-5. It feels like it's going to be another close game as we are on map number 2 on Lotus.
Absolutely. I mean, especially when you take a look at how these ultimates can be used, it's going to be a lot on the B site. The Armageddon as well, excuse me, as well as that Steel Garden are going to be very, very good on the B site because of how small that site is, how enclosed it is, and how dangerous it is. Stomp is going to be looking here, has the Operator to their name, can't quite find the Neon, needs to back up as they're paranoid. Gets out alive, and Monster finds Henry as they don't get out alive. You're going to see Syracuse up 1 member here, the rest of Minnesota pushing on through this A site. It's going to be a flank coming in from the Boogie as they're going to be through that side of the spawn. It's now going to be Stomp looking for something with the Operator once more. The shorty comes out, Owen finds Shambo. It's going to be bullets flying through the smoke, but no more connections. It's a 3-on-5 Syracuse advantage here. There goes the razor wire coming out from the Vice.
3 ultimates here. They can shut down a lot of what Syracuse can do if they choose to use anything. Nightfall comes out from Monster. Could be good.
Ooh.
You just peeked the corner just a little bit, and Stomp will find you. Takes down Zephyr. Sammy goes down. Some finds Owen, but Monster eats his PB&J. The Uncrustable finds the kill, and they find the round win. Last round and a half.
The Uncrustable feeds SU another dub right there. Really good round from the Orange just to be able to kind of negate the push. Again, we talk about it. Minnesota is a team that groups up. And again, what a shot from Stomp right there to take out Zephyr. Saw the shoulder, saw the elbow, and it just was enough. But again, Minnesota groups together as a team, and it feels like SU understand that pattern.
Yeah.
And it feels like as their 5 members are grouping, you are running into util, into shot after shot. And as all 5 members are kind of running down this hallway, members getting picked left and right, damage is going left and right, but SU start off really aggressively right here as Minnesota gets ready to go.
Yeah, there goes the Seekers as well. I want to mention the Odin comes out from one of the members of Syracuse. Going to be Stomp who gets taken down by the Seekers, as well as there goes the Vice ultimate. The Teo ultimate comes out as well, able to find the kill on the Stomp. Pretz has... Owen has the Odin here. Pretz has the Shorty taken down by Shambo. Zephyr finds Owen. Monster finds Shambo. Sun goes down with the plant. It's a 2-on-3. Syracuse looking for something. Mabuki goes down to Zephyr. Just Monster alive. They had a chance to win the 1v3 last time. Can they do it again? There's one. Monster finds Zephyr. 2 members alive here. Can they find it? Sammy has the operator. And it's going to be an even Steven 6-6 as we switch sides.
Switching sides.
What a half overall from the side of the SU Orange. Again, overall, it just feels like this map and just kind of how these teams are playing, I feel like both of these teams kind of realize each other's tendencies. And again, the trigger discipline from Pretz. Overall, Minnesota did start off with a really big lead, 4-0 advantage. SU has kind of put it together because it feels like SU has realized Minnesota groups up as a team and they run through. SU said, okay, we will group up as a team and shoot you as you try to run through. And now we're kind of getting into a point where it feels like this map has devolved into where we're dropping. Because everyone is just kind of gunfighting. There's not a lot of moving around the map because SU knows, okay, they're coming through this hallway. We will be ready. Do we win the gunfight or not? And that's kind of what this map is devolved into. I'm interested to see how SU does it, but Zephyr picks up 2 massive kills as Minnesota start off strong on defense.
Yeah, I was curious to see how Syracuse is going to do on this attacking side as Minnesota goes really fast onto this site. Henry finds Pretz. It's now just Owen. Who decided to play defense. Comes over onto this B site now from the defender side. There's 4 members alive for the side of Minnesota, and it is easy to flip map on this on Lotus, so I'm not too surprised that Owen managed to find their way around, but they don't have Spike, and now they're in a rough spot. Sammy finds them. It's going to be 1 member who falls to the side of Minnesota, but like I said, I'm curious to see how Syracuse is going to do. I think the operator from Owen is going to be really, really important coming out on this attacking side.
Yeah, I'm interested to see kind of how SU executes because, again, Minnesota have kind of already stated and kind of understood what they want to do. And for the side of SU, it's going to be kind of mixing it up. Can we kind of move around the map, utilize the fact that there are 3 sites? Because on the attack side for the side of the Golden Gophers, we just kind of saw 1 site. We're running and we're conga lining through B and B main and mid. And if you beat us, you beat us. If not, then we'll win the round. So interesting to see kind of how SU execute, but so much util goes out immediately. Pretz is completely cut off.
Yeah, I think that's why you saw the Odin come out on the last round of the half for Syracuse, is like if you did walk in a Congo line again, you were just going to get completely lasered. And so I'm not too surprised, but like you said, a lot of util comes out onto that A site, preventing Pretz from pushing forward, but I don't believe he's spotted by anyone from the side of Minnesota. It's going to be a split push, something we didn't see from this Minnesota squad. 3 members looking over onto C, Owen alone on B, Pretz alone on A side here. There goes the wall as well, just causing a little bit of disturbance. There goes the Skybird. I don't believe it manages to hit Pretz over on that side as the rest of Syracuse pushing on this C site. Spike still back, still waiting for things to happen. Syracuse is playing this one rather safe and rather passive, sort of just forcing out all the util that they can from this Minnesota side so they can just make their lives a whole lot easier as they push forward. Spike still not in any of their hands. It's going to be Mabuki who comes back around and grabs it. It's now going to be a Vice wall that comes forward. Going to split off the team here. Stomp looks for something with that right click. Can't quite find anyone. There's the Spike like now Syracuse clears over on this B site. Could be good. Pretz on the flank, spotted out. Will be
30
Shambo
seconds
with the
left.
Bulldog, shuts them down. It's going to be a 4-on-5. Syracuse rotating over onto this A site through that revolving door. Will be Mabugi as they're going to be the first one onto that site there. Monster looks for something, barely able to get through. Mabugi gets the plant down. There it is. That's going to be a 4-on-5. The rest of Minnesota pushes through the stairs here. It's spotted out. Monster just trying to live. Pushing Mabugi. Let me live, please. Stop. Find some. It's going to be a good kill, but they take a lot of damage. Shambo with the Bulldog once more finds the kill. Henry finds 2 with the Outlaw. Owen and Mabugi fall down. Monster finds 1 on the Shambo. It's just Monster alive. 1-on-3. Looks for another one. Finds it, but Henry going to get the defuse, and Zephyr going to get the kill, and it's going to be a round number 8 for Minnesota.
Really good thrifty round from the side of the SU Orange. Again, one of those situations where they weren't able to, they didn't have guns, so they had to get a little bit tricky, and I think they did a good job of just kind of drawing out Minnesota into the open. Stomp able to pick up some as well, able to get the plant off as well and get kind of those credits so that they're kind of able to accelerate this round number 3. Again, getting those guns off of the side of Minnesota kind of means that they have a little bit of a gun advantage as well right now, as the members of the Golden Gophers kind of just scavenging and scrapping together some sort of weaponry, as SU does have an advantage here. But again, I'm interested to see if SU can kind of draw out the Golden Gophers, because it feels like their map rotations really caught them lacking in map number 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And Syracuse looking to push far down this A site here. It's just Pretz looking to 1v1 and Neon over there on that C site. Doesn't want to take it though, as you know, it's respectable, right? You don't want to deal with that. You don't want to put your team in an disadvantageous position here. Syracuse slows their push down, as now they're pushing onto this A site. Will be a blind onto Owen, but no one engages onto it. There's someone on that left side. It will be some behind that pillar, excuse me here. Pretz looks for something, spots some, head taken down. Some is annihilated. Sammy finds Stomp. In return, Pretz through the wall finds Sammy. It's now going to be a 1-member advantage for Syracuse here. 4-on-3. Dog comes out. Pretz gets rid of it before it spots anyone and gets any recon for the side of Minnesota. The spike goes down, and now it's going to be Syracuse playing this post plan here. On the flanking side will be the Neon for Minnesota, and Owen will be the one to contest it immediately here. And they know someone is back there. It will be Henry, who's back, ready for a fight there. And Syracuse rotates through the revolving door. Owen finds Shambo. It's going to be Henry alive. Mabugi finds Zephyr. It's just 1 member alive to the side of Minnesota. Monster finds the kill. Very well played from Syracuse as they take that round.
I think, Ryan, that might have been the cleanest round that we've seen from Syracuse all night.
Yeah.
Overall, in terms of just kind of how they executed, they got into site really cleanly. In terms of the crossfire angles they set up for Minnesota, it just was kind of impenetrable. Really good kill onto some. Again, one of those situations we saw on the attacker's side where SU was able to kind of pick up some kills onto Minnesota in terms of kind of hiding in those rat angles, as I call them. And so good job, SU, kind of being able to execute all aspects of the game plan, getting onto site, executing, as well as setting up every single crossfire angle, so the Minnesota kind of had no way to kind of come back onto site. So just really clean by the side of the SU Orange, and kind of what I want to see, because again, we've seen what Minnesota likes to do. They like to group up, and on defense, they've struggled because they are split apart as a team, and they've not been able to kind of cleanly rotate onto whichever site is getting pushed. So I'm interested to see kind of how they utilize some of their resources. Again, the player that we saw highlighted and was so big for that team was Henry in map number 1. Interested to see where he plays as we go on to round number 16.
Yeah. Razor wires on either side. I don't believe anyone gets caught. Pretz throws a bullet out but lives through. Stomp just runs behind the corner, lives themselves as the judge comes out. Jury and executioner. Zephyr falls down. It's going to be now Stomp pushing forward onto this Sky. Can't quite find him. Shambo finds a kill. Monster finds Sammy. Some finds Monster. Some goes down to Owen. Owen onto Shambo. Owen still doing things. Gets the plant down. It's only 1 member left for Minnesota. A little messy and a little rocky, but Syracuse still coming out on top of this one here. It's 3 members for them, and they need to do what they haven't really had a struggle with so far today, but it's something that you still want to be aware of. Don't let the side of Minnesota take these 1v1s. I know this Neon has 0 HP, but it's not the point. You still do not want to give these ones. Henry has been one of the biggest members of the Minnesota team that's been on top of that leaderboard, really been a crazy fragger for this team, and they're going to run away. They're going to save that gun, and it's going to be a good one for Syracuse to win.
Really good execution again by the side of the SU Orange, just being able to kind of split apart this Minnesota lineup, not kind of falling into the trap of fighting these utils. And Owen showed up really big that round in terms of being able to kind of kill off a member, The bomb goes down from the side of the SU Orange, catches the bomb, and then turns and kills another member. Really good round for the side of SU, and it looks like Minnesota is going to be taking a quick timeout. I don't know how Stomp lived right here because he's flashed completely, takes out Zephyr, and this was super impressive because look, the bomb is in the air, Owen takes out one, Owen takes out two, catches the bomb as well. Really good play overall from the side of the SU Orange.
You know, sometimes it's one of those situations, you sacrifice your eyesight for the ability to see the future. And that's what I think happened there. You know, Stomp sacrificed his eyesight and then saw the future and was able to get the kill with the judge. And it's what you want to see. It's what you want to see if you're a Syracuse fan. And then you also want to see the forced timeout, right? Really, really good for Syracuse forcing that timeout from the side of Minnesota. And they're 8 rounds, right? 8-8. This is good for them. It's an even game here. Syracuse, they looked a little unsteady, a little rocky at the start of the match, but they found their way through. They've adapted accordingly, and they've gotten themselves back to a more comfortable position. Obviously, you are even right now, so it's not like you're happy, but you're comfortable, right? You're a lot more in an ability to win this, right? You're a lot more in a position where you can take this victory, and this is where it comes down to, as a team, you may not have the experience on the map, but you can still take really good fights. You can play that gun game. You have good capabilities to win.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations where when you are uncomfortable in terms of what the map, what's happening on the map, or even what's happening with the characters, things you execute are on the fundamentals. But we are getting back into such an aggressive game. Henry takes out Mabugi, some takes out Stomp immediately. Minnesota has flipped the script because they were so aggressive as this round started.
Yeah, and we've seen that pretty consistently. Henry finds Pretz. Every time one of these timeouts happen, one of these teams just full-fledges into the enemy, and that's what we've seen a couple times here. Owen, gonna maybe go through the wall. Not gonna. There we go. And gets the wall to go up there. It's a 2-on-5. Really well played for Minnesota. They want to bring the tempo back into their favor. They want to get that round win, and finding those 3 kills immediately is really good to do it there. Monster can't quite find anyone on the first peak, but Owen finds one on Sammy. Owen finds one on to Henry. It's gonna be Owen who falls down to Shambo. It's a 1v3. Monster finds himself in 1v3s rather frequently here. Finds one onto Shambo. Needs to find 2 more. They are completely separated from Minnesota, which means Monster does have the ability to win this. One of these players that we've talked about, kind of that ace up the sleeve when it comes to the gun play and the gun capability. And it comes down to Monster being able to just click the heads. And it's going to be looking for one more. Both members take a lot of damage. Monster does have Spike, does have the ability to play this rather aggressive if they choose to do so. They also have the Nightfall. Oh, what's going to be Valorant timing? I can already feel it. Wait, no, the Vice doesn't peek through. It's going to be Monster slowly pushing onto this A site here. He hears the drop, I believe. Or no, he doesn't hear the drop. Excuse me. Oh, no.
Oh,
no. Bring the gun back. Bring the gun back. Oh, Some finds the kill. It's hard to win 1v3s, and Minnesota takes that round, but not without taking some numbers down of themselves.
Yeah, really aggressive play overall. Again, one of those situations where Minnesota was just so aggressive. We talk about how they are a death ball on offense. They were a death ball on defense right there, and just able to execute. This is one of those situations where I will say this aggression was maybe just a little bit too much because they did put in a situation where Monster had the opportunity or chance to win. Still, they do pick up the round win after the timeout. 9-8 advantage for the side of the Golden Gophers, but I'm interested to see kind of how they play it because that aggression did work because it caught SU off guard. Can they play that aggressive again, or is SU going to be able to kind of split them apart as the Nightfall goes out?
Nightfall goes out, Convergence Pass goes out. Stomp finds one on to Zephyr. And it's going to be Stomp going forward as much as they can. They have the recall available. Will be able to... Oh, no, they don't use it in time. Sammy comes forward and finds them. Doesn't matter that they get concussed. Monster, however, going to get the plant down to 4-on-4. No advantage on either side here. Seekers come out from the side of Minnesota. Mabugi finds Henry. Neon on Neon Violence, and the Neon on the Syracuse side wins. Shambo, however, finds the Neon in return. And it's now going to be 3-on-3 in return. Owen finds some as they peek the corner. Looks for another one. Finds Shambo. Sammy goes and finds Pretz. It's going to be a 2-on-1 here. Omen's alive on either side. Owen is on Omen. Sammy fakes it a fuse for a quick second here. Looks to see if they can find the completion on it. Sammy drops down. There goes the haunt. Sammy finds Monster. Half HP. It's Owen on Owen. We saw Neon v Neon 1v1 and the Syracuse Neon 1. Sammy looks to stick it. Gonna take a little bit of damage. Doesn't even get halfway. They know they're not gonna be able to defuse it. They're gonna live. They're gonna save their gun. But Syracuse, never mind. Not going to be able to save the gun, and Syracuse will run the round on top of it.
Really good round for the side of the Orange. And again, Owen's Omen, we'll call him 007.
Hey,
2 O's.
I like that. It's
Really
normally not a good thing, though. But in this case, it's a good thing.
Yeah, really aggressive again. Right there, Mabugi being able to take out Henry was really big overall for the Neon v Neon violence. But overall, Sammy did go down. Owen survived on the Omen, and really good round. But again, these teams are so evenly matched up right now. 9-9 on map number 2. And again, one of those situations where we were 10-10 on map number 1 as well. So it feels like both these teams have been really good about just kind of answering to each other's punches. And now I want to see what can Minnesota do to kind of mix up their coverages on defense, because it feels like SU is now, again, adapting again. They went to see a lot, and now they're grouping up what Minnesota likes to do, group up as a team and push onto a site immediately and decisively. And it feels like Minnesota's kind of scrambling a little bit, trying to figure out where Syracuse are.
Yeah, and I mean, Minnesota as well, they don't have very much money, very much credits to buy these weapons, and Syracuse knows that, and that's why they're not playing too fast here. They know that any death that they have is a free gun from Minnesota, and they don't want to give that to them. They're respecting that gunplay. They're respecting the skill of this Minnesota Gopher squad. So Syracuse playing quiet, but still making their presence known.
Right, it's a 5-on-5.
All cross through the stairs. It's going to be a 5-on-5. The Omen uses that shadow step, but lives themselves through. The rest of Syracuse, they're just playing it. Oh, it's gonna be a full flank. It's gonna be a bloodbath here in a second. Get ready for it here. There's one. Press finds one on a Sammy, goes down to Shamba. Monster finds Shamba. Henry on a Mbugi. Stomp! And Monster find their kills on a Henry, and some Monster goes down to Zephyr. It's a 1-on-2. Stomp finds Zephyr, and it's gonna be a Syracuse win in a matter of 7 seconds.
What a round right there. Ships in the night passing by each other, and finally they encountered each other, and it was just a shipwreck as all 10 members were involved in the combat, in the melee. And it feels like what is it called? The Battle of Seven in Game of Thrones. I don't know if you saw that episode, but it just felt like every single member ran into each other, full horses, full lances drawn, and finally SU pick up the win. 10-9 advantage for the side of the orange. And now you talk about that credit disadvantage that the Gophers were already going into it. They don't have a lot of guns available, and they're going to have to play super aggressive to get something done. Yeah, they're going to have to there. And Syracuse, I liked that push. I really did. All 5 of them worked together, and they knew it was going to be crazy, but they were able to do it. That Vice Wall comes up. It's going to split out Stomp. It's going to be able to live through it because of that recall. Takes a lot of damage, though, but will be able to live for just a little bit longer. They're not able to get that spike down, however, and now Syracuse need to play passive once more. Sammy finds Mabugi early on. It's going to be that Neon who ends up falling. The heal comes out onto Omen as well, going to keep themselves in a nice and healthy spot here. Owen going to end up losing their gun? No, will be able to just barely dodge that Steel Garden from the side of Minnesota. It's now 55 seconds for Syracuse to find their way onto a site. They're down 1 member. Will be that Neon. It's just going to be 1 ultimate available for Minnesota. Syracuse has a couple things to use, right? They do have that Viper's Pit if they can get themselves onto a site, but it's going to be difficult to see as here we go. It's going to be from the shadows as the Omen comes back from behind. And it's going to be Henry who finds Owen, though. It's not going to be just enough. It's now a 3-on-5. Minnesota playing this very, very well. They're not getting greedy here, and they're getting good kills when they need to. Some behind this box. It is pinged. Syracuse might know they're there, but someone's going to look. Pretz finds Shamba. Pretz finds Sammy. Monster finds Some. It's now a 3-on-2. What looked good for the favor of Minnesota is now looking good for the side of Syracuse. Viper's Pit comes out. Monster going to get the plant onto this site, and now it's going to be very difficult for Minnesota to engage. This Viper's Pit practically gets the entire site of B. Stomp. Ready, waiting for someone to peek through the door here. They will be able to find someone. It will be Monster who finds Henry. It's now just the Vice alive on this B site. Not much you can do here. Zephyr finds Monsters. They're not inside that Viper's Pit. It's a 2-on-1. Syracuse still has the advantage here because of that pit and because of the numbers advantage. The Vice drops into this Viper's Pit, turns a corner. Zephyr, no HP. Press finds him and sold. 11-9. Syracuse in a very good spot now. Pretz with a 3K, and it felt like that round was so difficult. SU did not have a place to go, did not have a place to be, but Pretz picked up 2 members. Shambo and Sammy went down, and it felt like B-site was completely open. Really good crossfire angles as well. That's kind of one of the things I really like to see from the side of SU, is that even though they're in an advantageous situation, even though they're in a 3v2 situation, they're still playing the fundamentals really cleanly.
Yep.
That is what leads them to win round number 11, and now they have a 2-round advantage from the side of Minnesota, and they can set it to a overtime/win-it-all situation.
Yeah, but it's going to be difficult here. Syracuse has been playing this really well, but never mind. Zephyr jumps the corner, finds Monster. Henry finds Maboogie. Owen finds Henry. It's a good trade, but losing 2 members early, especially the 2 members that have their ultimate abilities, is not the best place you want to be. 3 on 4. Syracuse has made this win for themselves before. Can they do it again here? They have the spike in their favor, which is good for them, but it's going to be dangerous pushing into any site, especially walking into the Armageddon. Syracuse slowly pushing on to this B site here. Just going to be the Omen, it looks like, to engage. Paranoia comes in. Pretz gets around the corner and lives for just a little bit more time. There goes the Molly coming in to clear out that heaven spot. Stomp goes for the plant, is able to get it down, does have that recall if they choose to use. The bird comes in. They're not going to use it. There goes the stun as well. Still a 3 on 4, but now it's a 40-second timer for Minnesota to do something here. Owen plays on this corner in Link. It's going to be 2 members for the side of Minnesota pushing through there, 2 coming in from the revolving door on B. It's going to be Owen comes out, some finds 2 as the trade's not there. Owen and Stomp go down. It's a 1v2, it's a 1v2 now. Pretz finds 1, Pretz finds 2, going once, going twice, and some. Will it go thrice? It's going to be a shorty, but no, not enough. Some will find them. And it's going to be 10 rounds now for Minnesota, a 1-round deficit to Syracuse.
It was so close of a clutch for the captain, but it was not enough. Some picks it up, picked up 2 kills with a pistol, and the final kill with a rifle. Really good round for the Golden Gophers as Some clutches it out and picks it up. Pretz was so close to this 3K right here. I could just taste the call, but it just wasn't there. The Golden Gophers hang on, 11-10 advantage for the side of the Orange. Again, you talked about it. 2 members immediately died for the side of the Orange, but they still were able to get onto site, still be able to create a situation where they were so close to winning, it wasn't enough. SU still has the advantage. They still have the weaponry as well as the util and the ultimates. Let's see if they can get it done. But again, Minnesota has been really big about being super aggressive with that initial punch, and SU has gotten caught out twice now.
Yeah, I mean, losing 2 members early was just brutal for Syracuse, and they have to be aware that that doesn't happen again. They're able to win a lot of these times when it's a 5-on-5, but when they start off late, it's a little bit more of a struggle. Dog spots Pretz, but Pretz not going to die to it. Here comes a lot of util over onto this C side here. Honk is destroyed. Maboogie looks for something there. It's going to be able to find a Prowler onto 1. The Mo Judgy comes out. Won't be able to find anyone though, but they're able to clear sight onto C. It's going to be the rest of Minnesota looking to push this through. A little bit from B Link and a little bit from that spawn. It's going to be a flash that goes in. There goes the tether as well. Maboogie looking for something. Here comes the walls. It's going to be Zephyr through the wall. There goes the Nightfall coming out from Syracuse now. It's going to be a 3-on-4, 3-on-5. Monster goes down, but it will be Stomp who goes down. Excuse me. Monster finds Henry. Zephyr now finds Pretz. Some now finds Monster. It's now a 1-on-4. Seekers come out for the side of Minnesota. Sammy goes for the defuse, looks to stick it here. Owen finds Some, and they're going to look for something. Owen finds 2, but Sammy's going to get the defuse unless... No, not quite enough. Owen able to find 2, but it's not going to be able to win them that round. They're trying to live. Shambo making sure they don't get to keep that gun, and now it's 11-11.
11-11, it's getting dicey. Again, SU is able to get onto site really cleanly, but Minnesota has been playing these post-plant situations really well, and it feels like the other members on the side of the Golden Gophers are showing up for this team as we head into a timeout. Again, a really good time to call a timeout because right now, 11-11, you don't want to lose the situation, and you definitely don't want to at least give yourself the opportunity for overtime. So both teams just kind of need to take a break, figure out what they're going. Again, for the side of SU, they have 3 ultimates available. Can they get it done? Nightfall was used in that previous round, and it wasn't able to turn the tides. I'm interested to see kind of how SU does this because I will say the Golden Gophers are kind of giving them space. They are allowing SU to always get onto site, always get the plant. But in these post-plant situations, that team is showing up, and it's one of those situations where in the rounds that SU won previously, it felt like Henry kind of was always out of the play. Yeah. And again, I'm not saying it's correct to give them the ability to plant, but when you plant the bomb, you kind of have to stay on site. And now Henry knows where to go. And so it's one of those situations where it's a little bit weird, it's a little bit strange, but it has been working for the side of the Golden Gophers. It does mean that the coffers for the SU Orange are always stacked up because they always get that plant money, but overall, I think Golden Gophers have kind of executed really well because they were struggling on defense to kind of start out the half.
It's a little strange, it's a little fantastic, but here's the thing. It's 11-11, so make your wish and make it now as Syracuse is looking to clean themselves a 2-0 sweep over this Minnesota squad. Stomp has that recall ready to be used here.
with the shorty, engages through. I was wondering if it was going to be a fast and aggressive push from Syracuse, as we've seen most every time from both these teams after every timeout. It's been a very fast push. Syracuse, they're fast on the site, but they're not getting crazy in terms of kills. Some of these members have the money, but not all of them here. Bucky comes back out, looking for something. That shot comes in, they look for it. They're not quite gonna find it, but Pretz is there for the trade. Beautifully well done. And now it's gonna be a 5-on-4. It's gonna be an ultimate now for Neon as they grab that ultimate orb. Stomp playing nice and simple. They have a shorty, and that is literally it for them. So they can't really do too much, except for maybe find a quick kill. It's gonna be a little bit of a initiative, or a reconnaissance from the shadows coming out from Owen. They don't spot anyone. It's gonna be good for them to use. Now I believe that's Henry there with an operator. Monster gets the spike down now. And it's once again, you see a shorty, you see a sheriff. It's gonna be Stomp, looks for something, but Sammy clears it just perfectly. Hunt gets destroyed. Monster not gonna find the value. There goes the overdrive coming in from Mabugi. Owen finds Henry right after Monster goes down. The operator's there, and some goes down before the primary gets jammed. Zephyr fakes the defuse, goes for the full defusal here. Will get half. Gonna stick it, gonna go for the full, but taken down by Owen. Pretz finds Sammy, 12-11 on a thrifty, beautifully executed. One round from a 2-0 for Syracuse's final game of the regular season.
Owen had a dream right there. He picked up the operator and was able to create so much space. Again, Mabugi aggressive immediately, but Owen had his primary disabled. He was close to having it disabled, takes out the Tejo, and he was so big at the end of the round to take out Zephyr. Pretz took out the Omen as well. 12-11 advantage for the side of SU. They're going to definitely send it to overtime, but can they pick up the win? They have one ultimate left with the convergent paths. Minnesota has been struggling. They've been kind of giving SU the space to get onto site immediately. How do they play this? Do they play this aggressively? Do they split apart as well? What does Henry do? I'm so excited to see Ryan as we head into this penultimate round.
This could be it for Syracuse here to end their regular season. A 2-0 against Kansas last week, looking for a 2-0 against Minnesota. Henry peeks a corner, finds Owen now. The only way Minnesota stays in this one is to force an overtime. Mabugi gonna get stunned out, but throws a stun in of their own. 4-on-5, Minnesota advantage. Mabugi just trying to live. Pretz finds a trade. There goes Zephyr gone. Henry taken down by Monster. 4-on-3, Syracuse looking for something here. Sammy teleports out. Stomp finds some. Sammy finds Mabugi. 3-on-1. Stomp with the shorty finds Shambo. It's just Sammy alive. Monster finds him. Syracuse 13-11 victory after a 13-10 win on Bind. It's a 2-0 for Syracuse as they secure themselves that final game in the regular season.
Ryan, I called Henry a king, but what is a king to a monster? What a round, what a map from Owen, what a round and map from Monster and Pretz. Always consistent. Top 3 on the leaderboards for the team. Top 3 on the leaderboards for the entire map on both sides. Really well executed by SU. Got punched in the mouth immediately.
Yep.
Got punched again in terms of the aggression from the Minnesota Gophers. Even though it was a close 2-0. A win is a win. They take the 2-0 and they kind of finish up the last week of PEC with really strong kind of admiration that we can do this regardless of the map. We can execute, and we're looking strong heading into Vegas.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a wow. That's I felt that one in my voice a little bit. You know, have to let it out for a good last one. But Syracuse, a beautiful 2-0. That's what you want to see, right? Bind still just. I mean, I feel like if I say this, I'm gonna get yelled at. But also at the same time, if you have seen anything that Syracuse has done, ban Bind.
Yep.
Like, if you want to stand a chance against this team, Bind needs to go away when you're in Vegas. But outside of that, Syracuse, even though Lotus, we didn't see Pearl, but I'm sure it looks somewhat similar. Lotus is a new map to this, right? Syracuse, they didn't have a full fight plan. They didn't have a plan of attack, but they were able to figure it out on the go. And that's what you want to see from an improving squad. That's what you want to see from the Syracuse squad. And they were able to take a 2 my bad. A 2-0 victory over Minnesota. And that's a great way to end their regular season moving into Vegas. I don't think that'll put him at 5 seed. I could be wrong.
I believe it depends on what Kansas does.
Okay.
I believe if they lose, because they have the 2-0 from last week,
Yes.
it may get it because of tiebreakers, because they would both be 9-9.
And if it was head-to-head, then Syracuse
yes.
won the 2-0 against. There you go. So Syracuse probably has the 5 seed. We just talk. We don't actually. We are not bracketologists. That's for March Madness.
No.
So we're here to just yap, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But mighty good game.
Yeah, really good kind of maps overall from the side of Syracuse. Again, the bind. That's one of those things where I like that they were tested. It's one of those things when they faced Boise State, I believe they beat them 13-2. And it's one of those situations where they just kind of rolled over them. And in those last couple rounds, they were just kind of doing whatever and executing whatever, and it worked. This was one of those situations where a team came in with a specific game plan. We are going to execute this Death Ball, Voltron, Transformer combo. We're running onto site, and Syracuse had to literally take a timeout and say, okay, how can we deal with this? And going on to Lotus, they realized this team likes to group up a lot. If we can kind of catch them in these spaces where, okay, they're moving from door to alley into hallway. Can we get them as they're moving from point to point to point? They were able to execute. And again, they got punched again when they went on defense because Minnesota was super aggressive.
Yeah.
Finally, they were able to kind of take the win. It's a 13-11 win and a 13-10 win, but a win is a win, 2-0.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautifully well done from this Syracuse squad. And a nice one to finish off my Syracuse career with, because that will be my last broadcast. And I've been dropping hints throughout the broadcast here with all my funny phrases. So I feel like I have to be a little honest here. So though this is my last broadcast here, I will be attending the University of Tennessee. I volunteered a lot of my time here at Syracuse, so might as well become a volunteer with the burnt orange color scheme. Can't get away from orange, unfortunately. I'm a ginger, so I might as well, right? But that'll be where I attend. So maybe you'll see me at some point in the future, but at least for Syracuse, major love to everyone who has helped me get to this point in my career, whether it be faculty, whether it be you, my friend, or everyone else in production. It's been a wonderful time here at Syracuse and a wonderful time at Shenandoah, where I was originally before I transferred here. But that's going to wrap it up for me here in this booth indefinitely. So thank you very much for watching. And as always, wherever you may be, morning, evening, or afternoon, remember, y'all, have a good one.